I cannot hear you. Chat, can you hear us? Okay, you are muted. I don't know if both of us are muted. Can you guys? Oh, you guys hear me? This means I'm in control. All right. Well, while Kay gets his act together, I would like to show you guys my latest 3D print. You can actually see behind me, there's a 3D print going on, but this is the latest print, Classic Knuckles. All right, we got the Classic Knuckles going on. Right? And then this print didn't come out so well. It is Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic. Had a little issues gluing it all together, but we are gonna correct that. Uh-oh, they say I'm choppy. How's my audio now? Okay, clipping sound. We are gonna have to figure that out. Let's see what we can do. I don't know what is going on with Mr. K. Asante. All right, sounds good to Lucius Augustus. Now, this is something we are working on currently. We don't have the colors, we don't have it separated yet, but you may know this guy. This is Ariel from Ariel's Adventure, or Everborn Ariel's Adventure. We've got, this is going to have like separate swords. Working on the 3D model here. We've got to make his clothes a little bit more baggy, so he's a little bit more comic accurate. But we're going to break out the colors, and then we're going to do something that is articulated. So this is a project that is currently in the works. And behind me, I'm printing a classic Chunky Sonic. Now, if you know Chunky Sonic from Sonic Generations or the original 2D games, you'll know what I mean. So that is something that's probably going to take the rest of today to complete. But I'm having a good time. Having a good time with the old 3D printing scene. Also, I think Kay just left us high and dry here. So we'll talk about what I'm playing this week, which is 2 games that I picked up. Now, one is called The Last Faith. Is he back? Can we hear him?
Y'all can hear me now, can't you?
We can hear you now. You're a little bit low, but we can hear you.
A little low. Okay, a little low. I'll turn that up. These mother son. Okay, now I'll be quiet. Anyway, please continue regaling us with the games you've been playing.
Yes,
because Lord help us. Go ahead. Yes.
We are currently playing 3 games this week. I got a little bit of time because to play the Switch 2 this week, which was Metroid Dread, which I
talk about your Switch 2. Yes, I want to hear your Switch 2 conversation.
I'm 4 years late on Metroid Dread. I don't apologize, but I like Metroid Dread a lot. It is it's the production value is really high. I would say the production value is kind of like not quite, but kind of up there with Lost Crown, if you're familiar with that. It's a Metroid game through and through. Now there's a mechanic in the game loop that I don't know how to feel about. And you warned me about this, but like basically you're traversing this ship or whatever you're on, and there are these like security droids that you cannot overpower unless you have like a supercharged cannon. and you have to find it, and then you can kill them, and then you can more freely roam that area instead of skulking around, right? It's fun the first few times you do it, but then it kind of becomes annoying because I don't know that I like the way the map is set up in this game. I always feel like I'm lost, and being lost and then having to run around scared is not a great feeling sometimes. So I found myself putting the game down from time to time, just like frustrated, like, all right, I don't know where the hell to go. And now I got to run from this thing. So I don't have time to think about where I'm supposed to go. But other than that, I really love the way they brought like a proper 2D Metroid back. So still a fan of the game, just can become a little annoying sometimes. So now the other game is a game that was recommended to me in the Discord by Discord regular Major, The Last Faith. Now, as you know, I'm an unabashed Blasphemous and Blasphemous 2 fan. This game is unabashedly copying, like blatantly, we don't care who knows it, copying Blasphemous. I don't know if you can get this thing on the screen, but I mean the color palettes, The Last Faith. The color palettes, the item pickups, the tone, the voice acting, they just said, listen, we love Blasphemous and we're going to make our own version of it. It is crazy. It's not a bad game. I wouldn't call it the Temu Blasphemous because it's actually good, but it is like, look at this. If I told you that this was a screen from Blasphemous, what would you say?
Wow,
you wouldn't question
it. Is a little blatant. It's a little blatant for sure.
It's not a little blatant. It's a lot blatant.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like,
for sure, yeah.
Look at the HUD. Look at the energy bars. Like just the way the attacks hit, the music, the cutscenes, everything. Like if somebody told you this was like Blasphemous 3, you wouldn't really question them.
It's like they waited till the Blasphemous team was on the weekend and then they stole their engine and made a game real quick.
This
is exactly the same thing.
Insane. This is not inspired by. This is a blatant copy of. But again,
well, at least of the art style, right? Of the art style and the elements.
It's not the art style. It's not just the art style.
Art style and elements, right? It's like
it's all of it.
It's like you took the original idea of Blasphemous, but a different person put a different story in. It's not the same faithy kind of story, is it?
No, it kind of is.
Oh, it kind of is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then there's that.
I think there's some vampire elements in this, but like
yeah, because I'm seeing a little Castlevania vibes to it.
Yes. There's definitely Castlevania vibes, but like, you know, like corrupt church, faithless, you know, the like all of this, like medieval pain, all of it. It's like again, I like it, but it is disgustingly copy. So the thing is, right? It's $30.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I paid $10 for Blasphemous 1 and 2. I don't think like I like this game.
And let's be clear, you paid a lot for Blasphemous because most people who have Blasphemous, well, not most people, but a lot of people have Blasphemous for free because they keep giving you Blasphemous between the what do you call it, the Amazon game drops and Epic. They keep giving you Blasphemous 1 and 2. So yes.
Listen, Blasphemous 1 was actually like $2 and Blasphemous 2 was $8, right? But I'm only saying this to say, if you're gonna be like this inspired by, I don't think you have any business charging $30. That's kind of crazy. But again, I do like it. If you love Blasphemous, you will like this.
Lucius Augustus says the video isn't a slideshow. What's changed? Don't talk to us, sir. Talk to the fine folks at StreamYard. Maybe they're doing their job at this point.
Like $50 a month. They better anyway. whatever.
Let's keep it moving. Yes.
Now, the other game is a game called Awita. Right now, this is
Awita.
Yes. So, this is more my style. It is also a Metroidvania, but is more stylized. It's pixel based, but it is more of an anime-ish art style. I don't even know if it's Japanese people. That's kind of the style, like big eyes, stylized combat, lots of combos,
pixel graphics.
Yes. And it is much more sort of arcadey in the way that it moves. So like you can see some of the combat here.
I love the animation. I love when they're able to do like good pixel art with smooth animation. It just has a look to it. It's beautiful.
It's that screen shake. Like you really feel the impacts of the hits, and then you can get more power-ups. Now this game is only $10. So since I just played
Infinite Number says no relation to Gary Whitta.
None that I know of. But like you can see here, like the combat is fast, it's punchy, lots of like old school RPG elements. I know it's a Metroidvania, but just the items and inventory system and the way it works. But this is a lot more fast paced. And I don't know if I want to do the Last Faith right now. Look
at the trees whistling in the background. Even the trees, like it's vibrant, top-notch animation. Yeah, it's great. Well done. Yeah, it's beautiful.
This one I recommend.
Usually them trees just don't move like that. They move in parallax, but they don't just move by themselves when you're not doing anything. That's extra. That's extra. It's quite nice.
So I would recommend this over the Last Faith. Only because I just played Blasphemous 1 and 2, and this would be a little bit of a palate cleanser. It's weird that it's another Metroidvania. Yes, Everborn is playing another Metroidvania. I get it. But I really like this one in the way it feels and the art style. So and again, it's only $10. So if you're gonna choose between the two and you're looking for a Metroidvania, Awita is the way to go.
Awita is the way to go. I see what you did.
$10.
Okay.
I'm very happy.
So my question to you about this is, how did you get your hands on this? Is this part of the like Next Fast or are these all solely recommendations?
Right, these are solely recommendations. This is why you got to come to the Discord, man. You have connoisseurs of the utmost class, dignity, and taste when it comes to
distinction
video games. Yes,
that's right. That's right.
Very highbrow stuff in the Discord. If you want some real game recommendations. Now, there's another game that I picked up, and I didn't play this yet, but I saw it being played yesterday by the one and only Slow Mo Backslap, and it was called. Do you remember this one? Hold on, because I bought this one yesterday.
You bought it yesterday. Okay, tell me what it is.
Bought it yesterday. Hold on. Let me see.
If you want, while you're doing that, I can do one of mine. What's it called?
Something.
Oh yeah. Strike X. Yeah, I know. I have it on my list as well.
Spirit Strike X.
Strike X. Yes.
So it's out now in early access. It's a 3D beat 'em up, right? But it has like the most PS2 energy. Right.
Like it's doing like almost what do you call it? Dragon Ball combat better than Dragon Ball. Like many games try to do that Dragon Ball style. This seems to do it a bit better.
I wouldn't call it better than Dragon Ball, but I would call it. You can say Dragon
it's
doing. I don't know if you played Sparking Zero is what I'm saying.
But, I did play Sparking Zero. I did.
I don't know that they're doing better.
No, I don't mean the bombast. I mean the being able to traverse great distances and be able to take on multiple combatants at once with that power, right? You know, like that has, whether both in the air or down, or this is more on the ground than in the air, though, right? Like, yes, but still, it does have that energy. But let's share that with the people. There you go. Check it out. So go ahead. Tell us what you like about it.
In early access, combo system is super fun and only $10. Believe it or not.
This man and his $10 recommendations. There we go.
Listen, you can be out there paying $80 for games. And listen, by the way, Lucius Augustus, I have not gotten to you yet because with everything you talked about Avowed being justified at 70, I want to know if what do you call it? Outer Worlds 2 is justified at 80 from the same studio, since they're not the one to introduce that price. That was your logic, but we can talk about that another day.
Wow.
So these are the games that I'm playing and I'm about to play for this week. What do you have?
I left Everborn alone, and it came back with a lot of slander. All right.
Umbra may have just coined a phrase, the $10 holla.
Hey, that's a good one. I like that. $10 holla. What's up? He says, see you this week, this weekly Avowed slander. There you go. Man refuses to play the game but loves to trash on it. And then when we call him out for being specifically extra sensitive about Avowed, he wants to be Mr. Magnanimous. I don't hate the game. I just have a certain concern. Yeah, whatever, bro.
And when we call, look at this. He's surfing on this is great.
He surfs on people.
When we call Lucius out for being an Avowed defender and sensitive about Avowed, he'll say, "No, I got $80 out of the game, and they didn't introduce the $70 price. It was the price that was already established, and they were just going with the currently established price." The same should apply for Outer Worlds 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a little brief snippet of what you will get when you join our Discord. Join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. There is slander waiting for you in the Discord. Join what we affectionately call the cerebral octagon, if you will, where you come in there with your ideas and you lose your knees. It is what it is. We have a lot of fun in there. Join us in the Discord.
Of ideas, as we call
the octagon of ideas, indeed, absolutely. But okay, so you wanted to talk about some of the games that I have been playing. So Next Fest obviously is upon us, and there's some great games that we were discussing. Actually, I think last week we discussed some good games there as well. All right, so I'll start from the top. There's a lot of games I could bring up, but I actually think I'll start with Absalom. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Absalom.
Yeah, you tell me about this. I have it on my list, but it's not out yet. It's
not out yet. Yes, this is kind of serving double duty, right? For those who are like, oh, why do I need a handheld quote unquote Xbox? Because you too will be able to play these games when they're available in early access and or when they're available as part of.
But I thought PC didn't have exclusives.
Oh, stop the cap. Let's go. Anyway. So the only way I can describe this game, and I was playing this yesterday on the disc while we were all chatting. I was like streaming this on the Discord. It looks like Golden Axe, but with modern RPG elements and an interesting story. And the art style is, as you can see, very crisp and modern and new, almost cartoon-like, almost Saturday morning cartoon-like in execution. But when the gameplay rolls, and you're seeing basically the animation right now, when the gameplay rolls, it holds up very well, because you'd think something like this, the animation looks really solid, but then as soon as the gameplay rolls, you're like, it's not as good. I actually think it holds up pretty well. It feels like, as you see what you're seeing on the screen here, it gives me like almost He-Man kind of vibes from an art style perspective. And I should also mention the game is a multiplayer, not multiplayer, but co-op rather. So at the beginning of the game, you can choose between the lumbering. Oh yes, and shout out to Neat Pick, whose game we are using right now, whose footage we're using. I'll put his stuff in the chat so people can click on that link, so watch the whole thing if they need to. At the beginning of the game, you choose between either the bruiser, right, the hard bruiser who's very good at close quarters, right, and you have a shotgun. Or you pick the fast moving, has a bit more range, a little faster, but also is more susceptible to the larger attacks. It's funny enough, the game itself from a moment to moment is beat 'em up, but it's very, very, like, it has so many different styles that they add. Let me add to the top here. Let me go right here. So at the beginning of the game, you choose which of the characters you want to go, and then the other character just follows you. And at that point, you're just rolling through. Obviously, you're the dwarf in this equation here. I've played both classes, and it's quite good. Like, it's sword and board, but it also is very, very fun, and the enemy types are also really cool. Usually with the situations with fantasy genre, it tends to not have too much different options for you. You know, I like being able to have a gun as well as have the sword, as well as have magic and this, that, and the third. And this one seems to not limit you in that way. Obviously, it's the world we live in where your soulsborns exist. So it's very much deflections and you know, it's learned from its contemporaries. So yes, everyone, you were going to say, I'm sorry.
This looks fantastic,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know why, but it looks like what I wanted from Towerborn.
Hey, wow, okay.
And I did not get
yes, that's that's a bold statement right there. See, I actually think Towerborn is a bit of a victim of its time, but that's neither here nor there, you know. Okay.
No, but like, and when I say it, when I it's called Absalom, Slow-mo.
Absalom, yeah.
But so again, I'm not saying I needed what I needed Towerborn to be as like dark fantasy as this, but this is a more linear experience. I feel like with Towerborn, they kind of forced more of a service model into a game that didn't really need it, because they had a really cool premise and a good loop. But this idea of doing the same thing over and over again to get better loot in that kind of game just didn't really sit well for me, and I didn't really feel a purpose of running through these things. Because like when I play a beat 'em up, it's like, get through the challenge, show me the interesting bosses, see if I can get through to the end without dying, that kind of thing. Anyway, this is not about Towerborn, but like, I really like the look of this, and this, as soon as they allow me to purchase this is a day one for me. I'm not doing the demo because I don't like being teased with demos. But
he doesn't like to tease. He doesn't want to be teased.
I'm
yes,
absolutely sold. It's on my wish list. Just tell me when and where to take my money.
There you go. So yes, Absalom. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, this is Absalom. It's only in demo form right now, but I would say keep that on your wish list because it's really cool looking. The combat styles are good. The different classes
it almost
available
has
are
like
good.
a fighting game style combo system,
yes,
right? Like,
yes, it does. And if you're good at it, you can do like really good like combos and really take it there. It's quite good. You can make your weapons better over time. You know, you're gathering resources to over time make your weapons better and other equipment that you have in the world. It's really good. It's like it's taken the lessons of what's around and infused it into this beat 'em up style, and that's kind of cool and unique. So keep it on your list. It's quite cool. So that's one of them. Let's see what else do I got on my list here. So that was Absalom. The other one, now this one, like I'm doing it a disservice by showing it to you guys the way I'm going to show it to you guys. But let me say, yes. Mr. Infinite Slumber. Yes, that's what I call him, the Infinite Slumber. He's here, and he says that mushrooms getting beat up makes me think of the sound on Discord. Join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, yes, but okay. I can't show this game in its fullest light, but I need people to play it. I need people to see it. And why can't I show it in its fullest light? It's because the game is tied to music. And of course, if the game is tied to music, the minute I show it to you guys, now all of a sudden we're getting copyright strikes left and right, and this and the third. It uses like remixes and things. I don't know if the music that they're showing right now is, I know for sure that this is copyrighted, but some of them may not be. So just for the sake of being safe, I will not put the audio on, but this thing deserves its audio to be added to the mix to show you what it's called. And it's called Dead as Disco, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fighting game. It's called Dead as Disco. And while you're fighting, there's music in the background. Now this is Take On Me.
But is this a
remix
fighting game, or would you consider this as a beat 'em up?
You know, it could be. It could be it could be a fighting game, but you're right. It is a beat 'em up. Like if you were able to do this, if you're able to like have a second player, I have a feeling this would be more fighting game style because it has a long list of move sets. It's not just mashing, right? And it is move sets as well as Arkham combat. And it's all with, as you see, the swagger and the style, and the music is hitting. It's hip hop, it's disco, it's pop, it's everything. But it's very much using the music and style of, like, say, Disco Hero, DJ Hero, for example, right? The remix style of stuff, while like giving you this, to your point, like beat 'em up style and dripping with, you know, visual elements and whatnot. It's like very good. Like, so good. If you're a musician of any stripes, if you love any kind of music games, this thing is insanely good. I've actually played this more than you should because it's a demo, but I've played this thing like, at least I've beaten through it all the way through at least 6-7 times now. It is so special. Like, but it's for someone like me who loves music games, who's about that music games, right? Like, I love the style of it. I hear Umbra saying that the game plays back to being a slideshow. Unfortunately, that's how it is in the world of.
So is it only
Mhm.
with 3D games that happens? And if you show a 2D game, or what? Like,
I don't know, man. I think the way to solve this is OBS, but of course OBS then comes with its own issues. Yeah, see, Soil Tech is saying it's a 1 FPS at this point. Yes, so Dead as Disco. If I apologize that the visuals aren't showing it off as it should be shown off. Maybe one day we'll just suck it up and go back to Discord, go back to OBS rather, so you can see this thing in its fullest light. But yes, if you can, seek it out. It's called Dead as Disco. Excellent music, like Arkham combat, really like hitting combat, but almost like the protagonist is also kind of a little bit with a Bruce Lee style, like the style of combat that's used, the style of move sets used, very much harkening back to that. Perfect dodges, things like that give you like power ups and make it even more smooth in the world. It's excellent, like really cool, really cool. So Dead as Disco, that's another one I've been playing. Yeah,
you know, if we go back to OBS, we can do the show through Discord. Just keep everything there.
Yeah, maybe. But then, of course, everyone who joins us must also be a member of our Discord, or must be a member of Discord, which, you know, we shall see. That's a thing. Two more games.
Discord.
True. These days we just have to suck it up and just deal with it. Just deal with it. It is what it is. Two more things I want to mention. One, real quick, because I haven't had too much time with it, but it's got so much style that I had to mention it. And this is a major recommendation that was on as part of Next Fest, and it's called MINSK, Minsk. And it's just all swagger and all style. This game is all style. Like, it's nuts. Very good, beautiful. I mean, when you stop moving, you see the particles in the world. When you stop moving, it's almost like those particles also stop moving. Go ahead.
What engine is this?
I have no idea. Honestly, I don't. I don't know if it's I will not take a guess, because the slumbering one will wake up and then start talking smack. But I'll leave that one alone. But yes, the idea in this game is that the world is polluted now, and you can't walk around like normally. So everyone's got like robots that they walk around and pilot into this world while they're investigating, gathering resources and the like. I haven't spent too much time in the world just yet, but look at that. When the character stops, it's like the world stops, and you can see all the particles stop. And then when you move, it moves as well. It is, it's so beautiful looking. It is called MIN, and I say it's in that way because there are periods in between each word, each letter rather. It's MINSK. And keep that on your list. Yes. The slumbering one has awoken. He said that is Unreal Engine 5, by the way. So there you go. Look at that. Really, I mean, visually, it is chef's kiss. Masterful. It's really cool. So if you have a chance to, when it comes out, keep that on your list. It looks excellent. So I haven't had too much time with that one, so I just wanted to mention it. But the one that I want to talk about, and this, I have to talk about this with the least spoilers possible. But I have about, I'd say about 20 hours in it so far, and that is a game called The Altars. Everborn Saga, you were going to say?
I actually forgot to mention The Altars. I did try that this week, but just before you get into that, and not to get into sausages, how the sausage is made or whatever, but Slow-Mo points out we could actually still use OBS for the cameras, but StreamYard for the cameras, but have OBS manage the other thing. So you could give someone, like, basically you could do an offline video, I guess. Give someone a link, do it, and then handle your stream through OBS.
Truth be told though, if we get rid of StreamYard, we get rid of StreamYard completely, because you know that price point. Get out of here with all of that. Get out of here with all of that.
All right. Tell us about The Altars. I started it. I thought it was going to be like a kind of, I know that it's a strategy, not strategy, like a survival game. I know that. I heard that before. But the way it starts makes you feel like it's going to be like an action-ish game.
It's mama's first. It's mama's, or what do they call it? Baby's first survival game. Truth be told,
some people said y'all about in RPGs, but we're not talking about that right now.
Y'all have heard me say this before, and I think this is also apt for this as well. When the whole conversation about South of Midnight happened, I said South of Midnight's gameplay and its world was a delivery vehicle for this compelling story. I think that the Altars world, it is beautiful, it is well realized, it is just a vehicle, and even the gameplay of the crafting systems and the survival systems, it's all just a vehicle to explore this like hard science fiction premise. And it is like really taking it to,
I thought you were going to say what you said before in the Discord, but we'll leave that to the Discord.
Join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep that one moving. All right. Anyway, so you start the game. The idea, and no spoilers, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a game that you must discover yourself. There are some minuses, I say, to this premise, and we'll get into what I think is a little bit of a minus. But you start the game, you're on a ship, you are one of many crew members, like a good amount of crew members, and you land on a planet, and you don't know what's going on. And as you land on the planet, you discover that your crew, all the various members of your crew, have all passed away except for you. During the course of entering this planet, like something happened, you don't know what happened. Everyone's dead except for you, right? And this world is a Prometheus world. When I say it's a Prometheus world, I mean Prometheus in every sense of the word, except for the aliens that are running around. So there are no aliens running around, but the world is scary, cool looking. Prometheus world, right? Scary, very, very like
it is. I expected aliens to be running around the way it starts.
It's so good you want it to have aliens running around. It's so good. And the water, like obviously this will probably be slideshow or whatever. The water on a righteous computer or whatever you're running it on, like it gives Sea of Thieves a run for its money, and that's saying something. That is the best criticism you can give it. Best compliment rather you can give it. Like that water is wow. Like the quality and the visual representation of this world is wow, second to none. Needless to say, so you start the world, you're in the world, and you have to find your ship. You have to get to your ship. You get there and you're looking for a thing called rupidium. You learn, and none of these are spoilers, you learn early on in the game that is why this corporate environment, this corporation, like brought you and your crew to these planets. You're on the hunt for a thing called rupidium. And that's, by the way, another very odd thing. If you notice, everything in this world is round and circular. Even as you saw a minute ago, even the smoke that blows up doesn't blow straight up, it blows in a circle. I don't know if you noticed that. Very, very strange. This whole world, there's no straight lines. Everything is circular. It's kind of blows my mind.
I also find the naming convention of rupidium interesting, considering what it can do.
Yes,
the game is about.
Yes,
but anyway.
Yes. So yes, but needless to say, so you start the game up. You need a whole crew to get your butt off this planet. The planet's got like radiation. It's coming for you. You better hurry up. TLDR, you'll start cloning yourself. This is not a spoiler. Just the cover alone shows you 3 or 4 or 5 versions of yourself, right? The game is great. It is like the way they have threaded the needle of it being a survival game, but it's not really a survival game. It is, but it's just enough of a survival game to get you to that hard scientific premise, right? And then you start grokking and start like dealing with what would you do if you were in this situation? How would you handle this? Yes, Big Mad Mo's in the chat. He says multiplicity. Absolutely, yes. It takes it to a very, very like good place. I really, really love this game. It is excellent. The only part of it that I feel might be a bit unfortunate, and this is where I would say, ladies and gentlemen, please avoid spoilers. This should be random. For those of us who have played Starfield, for example, and done New Game Plus a couple times, you know that the randomized nature of some of how these worlds work kind of helps it. It makes it unique, so that when you're having chats with your buddies, oh, well, this happened to me. Oh, well, that happened to me, right? When we started that conversation in the Discord, I actually found that what happened to others happened to me in similar succession. So what they said informed my ability to avoid some pitfalls, right? Which is a little unfortunate, I think. I think it should be random, and what happens to you shouldn't happen to me, and vice versa. And oh my God, how did that happen to you? That kind of thing. But it seems like the things that happen to someone who's played a little further, if they tell you, you'll get there like in the same order, which is it takes a little bit away from that thing from me. But by and large, as that science fiction premise opens up, I think this game is going from good to great in my estimation. Everborn Saga, I will be bold. I will be a little bit maybe recency biased a little, and say that if there's anyone that hates Expedition 33 right now, it is the makers of the Altars, because if it wasn't for them, people would be speaking much glowingly about this and having that kind of level of conversation. Of course, Expedition kind of took the energy out of the room. Having played it, what are your thoughts? How long have you played it? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of time in it, but like I just got into the ship and I'm going to get the message.
Have you altered yourself a few times?
I haven't altered myself yet. I just started it. But
talk to me after you've altered yourself a couple of times.
Yeah, but
it's brother.
The thing is, I don't know if this has a candles light in a
I'm not saying that it even stands next to Expedition. I'm not saying that. I don't think it does at all. I'm just saying that if Expedition wasn't there, this would be the next in line, because it's really doing something interesting.
But you do know it's 2025, and this is one of the most competition in terms of Game of the Year contenders we've seen in a long time. But again, we'll see. I'm going to get into it, but that's a tall order for anybody on.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not wrong. It is a very tall order, but I would say this thing is worthy. It's just a slow burn to get you to where you really need to be. And I chose my comparisons to South of Midnight in that way aptly, because you think it's one thing, but it's delivering you that thing. But that thing is delivering you, it's just as a vehicle to deliver you this other thing that you didn't know it was. It's very good. And it's cerebral and has you thinking. It's very good.
If that is the case, it shouldn't be in the conversation for Game of the Year. But I don't want to get into that debate. We can. No, you're saying it's not really this thing, right? It's not. It's really I'm trying
not to be spoilery. But I'm telling you that what it is very worthy. But continue.
Okay, yes. That's fine. And what I'm saying is, if you're saying it's a delivery mechanism for a story, then to my mind,
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even say that. I didn't say a story.
You called it a survival game light, which means it's not pushing the boundaries of survival games.
Of survival, right? No, it's not. It's actually more approachable of a survival game than any others. And I for me anyway, that's a plus, not a minus.
Anyway, I don't want to get into this debate because I don't have enough time into it. I got into the Avowed debate because I have 20 hours in that game, Lucius. But here I will reserve.
Stop the shadow boxing,
sir.
Stop
no,
the shadow
I'm
boxing.
not shadow boxing. I'm person boxing.
Is he here?
Lucius is right
is
here.
He here? He
so
is not in the sky.
All right. We'll come to it later.
Join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Join the Discord.
Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of how people are here. We said we were going to get better about doing that, and we are 45 minutes in. So I think
yes. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Yes.
I was going to say it's time to eat the steak, but that's not. We don't want. Okay, forget it.
Big pause. Anyway, yes. we just keep harkening back to our Discord roots. Anyway, so since I didn't get a chance to do it at the top of the show because of reasons, thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate y'all being here. All 174 of y'all on various platforms that it's now being broadcast right now. Thank you. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. I am, of course, your host, Mr. K. Asante, joined by my brother from another, Mr. Everborn Saga. We here. We're doing this every week. Thank you for being here. Let me quickly catch up on a couple chats, and then we'll get to our main stories of the day. First off, Adidas 20. He's here for 13 months. Brother, we are so appreciative of your support. And he's just here to say salute. Salute to you on this Saturday morning. Thank you so much. And the one with the great recommendations, MJ Dark, also a wonderful member of our Discord. He's here with a $5 super chat. He says, remember that Tuesday we return to the beach, Asante. Death Stranding 2 is upon us. Gajima, have a great show, guys. Donkey Bonanza next banger. You know, I would like to have that conversation for a little bit because I feel like, and Everborn, you are also a Switch 2 user. How do you feel about the Switch launch? Just for a quick moment. Let's have a quick little...
As I said a few times before, I think Nintendo did everything they needed to do, but nothing more. The Switch 2 is exactly what I wanted it to be in terms of my complaints with the OG Switch. And again, when I say complaints, I mean, 8 years after releasing, these are the pain points. And to me, they've addressed those pain points. Now we'll see what happens if we get any stick drift or whatever with the new design. But they are, it seems like they've put some RMA processes in place if you do get stick drift, which may tell you that they haven't fixed it, but at least now there's some RMA in place. The screen looks, I don't care what Digital Foundry says, the screen looks great.
It looks great, no doubt. Screen is awesome. Yeah.
It's a little bit ergonomically challenged, but it feels premium in the hand. And launch-wise,
that is Mr. Everborn Saga saying that ergonomically it is the equivalence of a piece of wood, ladies and gentlemen. It's a piece of wood. It's flat,
but it still feels premium, right?
It does, yes.
It's just, look, when you get an iPhone, there's this whole thing that The Verge started calling it feels like a piece of jewelry, which is hilarious. But it feels like a premium device. It also is many times too big for the hand and will slip out of your hand, and it is not like as practical as it should be.
Ergonomically, it's not this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, even that doesn't have as big grips as I would like, but whatever. But launch wise, I think they did what they needed to do. They launched with a huge game, which is Mario Kart.
That's the problem I have. That is where my issue lies. I feel like I want to play more games, and all I have is Mario Kart, and I really want. I need the Donkey Kong game. I need it like yesterday. You know?
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? Like Mario Kart 9 is a huge game by all accounts. True. 65 million sold for the previous one.
Yes,
and again, attach rate wise, it shows that people are buying more.
It will be like that's a game that's going to be talked about 8 years after it releases. No doubt.
I think it is a winning strategy to say, we're going to give you one big game a month because we want to give you time to play these things, right? So if it's Mario Kart 9 in June, Donkey Kong Bonanza in July, and maybe what it looks like, Metroid Prime 4 You're not wrong, Pixel.
The hammer has spoken. I'm
But
just saying.
Metroid Prime 4
Mhm.
in potentially August, because of those billboard leaks that we saw, right? A big game a month to kind of get this like rolling thunder of a launch. I think it's a very good strategy, and it does show how important they believe they treat their first party games, which is, this is not just disposable content for people to graze, right? Remember when albums used to come out and you used to have to sit with it, and this is the album you are listening to this month, right?
This month, it's
And
the album of the month.
right now it's like, all right, there's a new single every 3 minutes, right? And you don't really get time to sit with stuff. So Nintendo doing a game, a big game per month, I think is a powerful play, and it seems to be working, like sales.
I just
so
wish,
I
me
think
personally, selfishly,
I'm happy
I
with
just wish that they had released 2 first-party games with it. Let the third parties tell the tale as they are, but like both Mario Kart and the Donkey Kong at the same time, day one, would have been good for. Then let CDPR continue to tell the tale. Let the rest. But like from their first party aspect, I really love Mario Kart World. I've been playing the heck out of it, but I want more. I want more, something that really like accentuates that hardware. And so far, I don't have that.
You know what it is for me? There's a lot of games that I missed or started but didn't finish on the OG Switch, just because.
Okay. So it's just filling the gap for you.
Yeah. Right. Like as an example, like Metroid Dread might as well be a launch title for me because I never played it, right? And then playing them now with the updated specs feels so different. A bonus. So it does give me use of it. I'm happy with the device for now.
So some of us may not feel the same way, because some of us happened to finish Metroid Dread on something called the LIX. So both timing and performance is not a factor for me. I'm just saying.
The police will be at your door in 5.
Yeah, they could be at my door. Nintendo, I own a copy of that game. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Whatever.
You think Nintendo people there? They don't.
Hopefully the community will help me when the ninjas come for me. I'm gonna need some financial.
And by the way, I say this as someone who I respect Mario Kart. I don't care for it. It's not my thing. I have it because I got it like I would never pay $80 for that game, but I got the bundle. I added it to my account. Haven't launched it one. I think I launched it for like not even 10 minutes.
That's insane, bro. I already have all of the trophies for both 50cc and 100 for all of them. Now I'm working on the 150. Okay, well, we'll see. He didn't even know what that means. Damn. Okay. Real quick, the great Luke Law, Xbox expansion pass. Always great to see you. I saw him again this year at the June showcase. Thank you so much for being there, sir. Always great to see you and connect with you. I still owe you some images from that time. He says, proud to support great creators. Thank you so much for being here. Proud to support you as well, sir. Thank you so much. Always so kind every time I see him, and wonderful member of the community. Another wonderful member, Soil Tech, who's been a member for 12 months. He says Nintendo Switch 2 is GOAT. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Soil Tech. Now, Soil Tech is our resident powerhouse in our Discord. If you mess with him, you're gonna get the horns. And those who know, because Soil Tech is quite prolific in our Discord. Thank you so much for continuing to be with us and supporting us. All right, so about this whole Switch 2 thing, right? I'll put it to bed. I'll just say, like, as you know, I'm about them handhelds. I got one here. I got another one here. I got 3 here, actually. Right? I just want more to play. That's all I want. I want more to play.
Anyway. Okay. I think you may have a problem, sir. You have enough. You're not even finishing these games. You don't need more to play. Sit your behind down.
No, sir. Don't. Have you finished Expedition? Yes, you did. Have you finished Doom: The Dark Ages?
Before you.
Doom: The Dark Ages? Have you even started it?
Of course, I started Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm on chapter 4.
Yeah.
That is because
don't come for me about video games.
Grazing on these big popcorn trendy games. I am in the Discord getting the top level recommendation from the connoisseurs of these indie games. But you can go back to your playing your big name stuff. That's fine.
So let's get back to it. Let's get back to the conversation at hand. Before we start this thing proper, I just got to put this out here. I don't know who put this together. I don't know who made this, but whoever did, shout out to you. I'm just gonna leave that there real quick. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Anyway, let us move forward. The first story I want to talk about is this. Have you seen this? First images of the purported Quest 3 Xbox have leaked online.
But that's not the image.
Let's be clear.
Right?
No. This is not the image of it. This is just a Quest 3 that they've darkened and put an Xbox logo on top. This is the actual image of it right here. Oh, now we're going to the YouTube, the X's. This is the image of it right here. Right. So there it is. That's what it's going to look like. And I guess I put this into the stories. I put this as a quick talking point because I know that there will be some that'll come quickly and be like, hey, this is not this. This is not that. This is a Quest 3 that's in Xbox Black with green accents. Anything more? And it has an Xbox controller bundled in. Anything else? Anything else that makes it special?
No, I mean, this is just so you can play your xCloud games on a flat.
Probably comes with a Game Pass, like probably comes with a Game Pass sub for like a couple months, right?
Surprised. And it comes with an Xbox controller, right? But I think this is. I just wonder if, like, okay, look, Phil, feel how you want about Phil. He's been in that role for over a decade. At some point, he's gonna want to retire. And one of the things that he promised was they were gonna do VR.
He's just doing checklists right now.
This is just like, listen, you guys won't leave me alone about that. Here's a VR thing. Now get out of my face.
So I will agree with you, and I will say you are onto something if the next announcement he makes has something to do with what's that dumb dragon game that they keep, like, that noose that's around his neck for however long now. No, that's never Scalebound. If they go and we're announcing Scalebound, I'm like, all right, Phil's over. He's retiring. It's over.
But I mean, technically he's doing something with Platinum Games, right?
He is. So. Yes, he is. So, Scalebound incoming, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If Scalebound comes in,
sans Kamiya.
That's right. So if we quickly hear, and Scalebound is upon us, then I think Everborn Saga is onto something, and we're just at that point where it's just like, forget about it. Forget about it.
And then before he retires, he gets Game Pass on PlayStation, so he can live up to the where Game Pass exists. Promise.
There you go. So, anybody buying this? Anybody interested in this? I know you're not.
I mean, I have a Quest 3 and a 3S, and I have many Xbox controllers, so there's zero reason for me to want this. But I could see someone who is interested separately in VR just getting this one if they want to get that. But, like, if you already have one of these, this is pointless.
Right? It's not really necessary. It's like you get a free controller and cool black accents, right? For everybody else has a white headset. You get a cool black one with red with the green accents on it. Oh, and of course, because he does this and we appreciate him, Dr. Dryrub is in the chat. He's dropping codes left and right. I see the Dark Pictures Anthology. I see Warhammer. Yo, I see Dragon's Dogma. Yo, shout out to Dr. Dryrub. Shout out to Dr. Dry. If you get one of those codes, how about you give him a pound? You shout out to Dr. Dryrub. You give him some respect because the man has a great name and he's dropping some codes for the community. Thank you so much. The great J Mac is also here. He's been a member for 17 months. He says #GreatBeards in the building. Killer of Killers is the best Predator in my opinion. Sir, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Killer of Killers is awesome. More people should be watching that thing. That's amazing. Oh, Dr. Dryrub is real crazy today. He even got the code for the Altars. Game just came out. Like, congratulations to whoever gets that. That's awesome, man. That's real cool. And Rematch. He has got a code for Rematch next. By the way, I've been playing a little bit of Rematch. Rematch is real cool. More people should be playing it. It's that really interesting soccer game. Kind of got the FIFA arcadey feel, but the skill ceiling is a little higher than normal. It's real fun. People should be playing it. But anyway, let's get back to it. So I don't know if you're gonna play. If y'all gonna check this out. I'm a VR head. I'm not buying this thing. I already have a Quest 3. But it's if you're in the market for a Quest, this is a cool one to get. It's got that cool accent, and it's something that it will most likely be like something that's not like it won't last forever. So if it's a cool idea. So there's that. Everborn, another story that I want to talk with you about, because we had this conversation at some point before, and this was about specifically related to Take-Two and Rockstar. And I had this conversation with you and the community, rather, in the Discord. And now I'm not saying I'm onto something, but it's like, my eyebrows are raised. A while ago in our Discord, I was talking about the fact that this is the first GTA to be released without the brain trust, right? And that over time, little by little, yes. I see Lucius in the chat trying to make it clear. Please let us know if you take the codes. Yes, please. Shout out to Dr. Dry Rub. Like, let people know if you got that code. We appreciate his generosity. Thank you so much. Yeah, don't just take the code and stay in the dark.
Yeah, at least let Dr. Dry Rub know.
That's right. Yeah, let him know. We appreciate, it's real cool that he's doing that. So So anyway, we were having this conversation because I was like the brain trust is gone. The Hauser brothers are no longer with us. Like it gives me concern about what that core of what GTA will be and is, because the brain trust is not there, right? And people were like, oh well, it is a product, it's a known product. There's no way that they would delude that product because it is the juggernaut, right? Now, however, not to say that I'm right, because we still don't know and the product is not out yet, but it is coming to light, and I'll put this on display. It is coming to light that, and this is reported on by Insider Gaming, who has been pretty on point for a while, saying that GTA 6's story was rejected 3 times and was the cause for Dan Hauser to step down. Now, obviously, rumor and speculation. It's all claimed rumor and speculation, right? But this brought about that initial, and we didn't know any of this when we were having that conversation a couple of weeks ago, but it seems like this is heading in that direction that I was thinking about, that maybe the original brain trust doesn't like what the corporate entity wants to turn this thing into, and as such, they are stepping away. With this news now as part of the equation, what do you think? Do you still have faith that this thing will be what it's supposed to be, or are you seeing things my way a little bit more? What do you think?
I think we have to see what the product is, right? Like, these are 2 people, right? Mm-hmm. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created a lot of characters in Marvel, and people came after them and wrote amazing story with these characters. So,
true. No doubt.
Let's see what the product is before we just say that these guys are the gods of writing, right?
Sure. But let's be absolutely clear, right? The reason why this was brought up in the first place is one of the brothers is the main technologist, brings about the technology, brings about the gaming creation development process. The other is the main brain trust for storytelling, right? And the technologist left first, and then later after Red Dead 2, if I'm not mistaken, the writer also left. So now both of them who created the studio, who founded the studio, are no longer there. And my initial thought and fear on that was, when you become a powerhouse, right? When your product becomes that big thing, the Call of Duty, if you will, the one that everybody wants, then they start shaving everything else away, and they also start micromanaging what they think this thing should continue to be, to make sure that the money does not dry up. And that brought me fear, because that tells me that they're not going to let the spirit of what this was continue to be, for fear of losing money. My eyebrows are a little raised with this one. Again, to your point, it's definitely not like a end all be all 100%. This is going to be a crap or whatever. Absolutely not. But it's a little bit suspect. I'm just like, hey, this is notable. Just notable.
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. Okay.
But again,
we're putting a pin in this.
Someone who doesn't care.
Who doesn't care about GTA. I understand. Yes, but and this is not necessarily even about GTA as an entity itself. It's just making note of the idea that when something becomes really, really successful and really, really becomes the main driver of business for a company, then all of a sudden it's out of the hands of the creatives, and it could go off the rails, because now what got us there is no longer good enough. and it's looking like this might be some of that, right? Same thing with Call of Duty and all these others, right? If you look in the past, you'll see a lot of really great games that were part of IP portfolios. When they hit huge major numbers, now all of a sudden, what they did to get them there it's no longer good enough, right? And that's what I'm pointing out here. I hope it's not the case. I hope it still ultimately is what we want it to be, but it's just one of those things that makes me raise an eyebrow and go, like we shall see where this goes. Anyway, so let's move on to the next story. Now, this one's a little interesting. I heard you talk about this, Everbone, if you're still there. I heard you talk about this on our Discord, and I because you spoke eloquently about it.
By the way,
I wanted
of the next print.
Oh, wow.
So this is gonna go with our Knuckles. This is classic chunky Sonic. So we're just starting it. We'll see how far we get by the end of the show.
See, what you should do is when you build your Ariel from Ariel's Adventure, you should make his head and his proportions all the same, so you could take his wig off and put the Sonic wig on if you want to. So
right.
That's how it should work. You see what I'm saying?
Relax. You need to relax.
You see, now we're heading into the intermediate pool. But yes, you spoke pretty eloquently about this, and I want you to kind of educate us and me, frankly, because I haven't really been paying too close attention. Because this to me was just like, again, that GTA meme. Oh damn, here we go again. And what am I talking about? It looks like WB is once again on the chopping block and might be up for sale. And it looks like Sony might be interested. What do you think, sir? I know you were thinking that this might not be the gaming arm. Like, how far has this gone? Yeah.
So, okay. There's a few things to this. We know that WB has been on a roller coaster of changing owners, right? They were owned by I think it was AOL for a time, or Time Warner. Yeah, it was like AOL, and then they got picked up by AT&T, and then that didn't work after AT&T bought them for like $80 billion, and then AT&T, bought them at a time where they thought net neutrality was going in their favor, and they thought they could own the pipes and the content. And then they realized they didn't want to be in that business. And so Discovery comes around, run by David Zaslav, who is famous for, and this is not a joke, introducing the world to Honey Boo Boo. Yes.
Yep.
And
totally
reality networks. Yes.
Totally like ruining HBO in the process. Changing it from a powerhouse brand to the crap on people's shoe in the process.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because they still managed to release quality content throughout all this. But they what's it called? They rebranded from HBO Max, which everyone knew, back to Max, and now back to HBO Max, which is,
and we were all like,
told them,
what are you doing?
Was a dumb idea.
Yeah.
They did it anyway. And
we're gonna do it anyway.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Right. And so now it seems that, and they when Discovery got them, they got them with a bunch of debt, right? So now they've broken up, not broken up, but like separated a separate piece of the company that includes the movie studios and things like HBO. But as I understand it, the linear broadcast stuff, like the cable TV stuff, reality stuff, the games business is staying there, and the other business is the movie lot and the and HBO and streaming and those things. And so what I understand is Sony is looking at the the streaming side of things and not the linear TV side of it. And the reason we're separating those two things is the one side has all the debt and the old school linear stuff. And I believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the linear TV side still holds the WB Games piece of it. And what Sony might be interested in is not necessarily WB Games, but the WB movie lot in Hollywood and HBO Max. They would have their own streaming service and all those things, and DC Comics, right? And the IPs to those and the ownership of those things. So that's how I understand it right now. But again, Sony is a little bit famous, and I'm not talking about PlayStation, I'm talking about Sony. They're famous for saying, hey, we might be interested in this, and then last minute be like, yeah, no, right?
We want it, we can't afford it.
Right.
we want it. Oops, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily they can't afford it, because I do think Sony has a little bit of money in the bank, and they can definitely get loans to do these things.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing to me is not necessarily Sony, but the other potential suitors. And I'm sorry, it's not Microsoft, right? If anybody's thinking that, it's not Microsoft.
Amazon,
Amazon or Apple are the biggest ones that I could see interested in this, because again, Amazon just got MGM, and that seems to be working out well for them with Lord of the Rings and James Bond and all that, and Prime is a large service, and then Apple, who is all about quality streaming content and movies, and that would fall right in line with what they want to do with Apple TV, like premiere art house shows. So I think Apple could be a potential suitor in this case. But yeah, the idea of the WB Games thing, I don't have any information or haven't seen anything like reported to that effect. I think this is more about HBO Max, the Hollywood movie lot, and things like that.
Interesting. So, and I see people in here talking about, well, Microsoft could buy and like take and like shove some IPs around this and that.
That's not,
man.
That's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, I was about to say the same. Especially what we have seen from them after we've seen all the ABK-ness of it all. Like, I'm not sure that they would even be remotely wanting to jump in those waters, at least in the short term. I don't know. I feel like they've learned their lessons a bit here with that. Am I wrong?
I feel like they've learned their lessons. I mean, this is the longest period they've ever gone without an acquisition. If we look at post ABK, and I'm not just talking about gaming, I'm talking about acquisitions in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're gearing up to get back in the M&A space
by something.
But Satya has been really not into the idea of jumping into Hollywood. He's said it many times. They don't need it. It's just not really core to their business. Like maybe if Netflix ever came available, because Netflix is more of a technology company than anything else. I could see them being interested in that, and good luck getting that past regulators. But I don't know that Microsoft is interested in like TV streaming like at all. So I feel like I do not see a Microsoft thing there.
I feel like the reason why that is because they have enough trouble with the retail gaming space already, and then you go to say like an even more a creative space. They can't handle it right now. I have a feeling that may be the issue, and they don't want to go even further in that direction. Even gaming, they can't wrangle the community. Imagine trying Hollywood writ large. How long did it take them to get Halo done, and what did that end up becoming? You know what I mean? I feel like they don't have the power they want in that space.
Let's be fair though, right? Like the Halo is from a bygone era. If we look at Fallout, and then we look at Minecraft, and you could say Fallout was in development before they came over, but explain Minecraft to me. Like they got that
the only thing I'm just saying is that they themselves don't seem to have the the control or the power they want in that environment, and it leads to things that are beyond their control and tends to like sell their narrative incorrectly sometimes, right? But I do agree with you that the Minecraft message was delivered quite correctly. So there's that. So I agree with you on that. So the whole thing with the gaming aspect not being included, if that is not part of it, then I do think you are right that probably like your Amazons and your Apples would probably be more likely to get their hands on this. Not to say that even if gaming was included, that they wouldn't be likely, but I feel like Microsoft would complain more if gaming was included. Am I wrong? No, it'd be more of a crying lion, Jim Ryan type situation. Like they would try and muscle in. No,
I do not think.
No, they wouldn't care. Okay. They are moving at a different speed.
Like buy ABK and potentially whatever else they want to do M&A and then complain about somebody else.
And then complain about somebody else doing it. Yep.
Definitely not Sony they're going to complain about. Like maybe they'd complain about like a real competitor like a Apple or a Google or whatever. Then it would have to serve.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
Not Sony, but probably
Sony buying
Amazon and Apple. If Amazon and or Apple were to have overtures, do you think that there'd be a bit of a
they wouldn't really have no. Even then, because they're not a player in the space, their complaints would be irrelevant, right? When Epic is going against Apple and Google, sure, we're playing in that space. You're not
in the same space,
like relevant to this market. This would be like McDonald's complaining about the ABK merger. Like, what do you have to do with this? Right?
That's true. Okay. Yeah. No, you lay it out. You lay it out quite well. Okay. So, we want to talk about the Microsoftness of it all. We want to talk about the Amazon, AMD and Microsoft like merger, the partnership in chip making and all of that. That is super interesting. But there's been some interesting drops here and there, so I kind of want to talk about those as well. The one that I thought was a little funny, if you recall. There was that whole conversation with the Splitgate 2 developer who came out during the Summer Game Fest and made some comments that made people feel a little bit iffy about him, about Splitgate 2 and all of that. It looks now that after Splitgate 2 has made the splash, they're still laying off a group of quote unquote small valued staff. Am I wrong, or didn't Splitgate 2 actually do well? Solomo Backslap, if you're still in the chat, please let us know. I know you're a big fan of Splitgate. I think he's been playing part 2 as well. I wonder what happened here. I thought that they themselves were pretty good as far as like attention and the AAA almost black hole game kind of situation. But now it looks like it may not be so good. Are you aware of this game and the situation?
I am gonna file this under long hair, don't care. I've never played Splitgate. It looks like Portal meets Halo. I guess that's great, but this is many things that I don't care about. So whatever happens to these guys happens to these guys.
So yes, but I just think it's interesting because this man wanted to take a piece out of the other games, and now it looks like either it is his studio, I suspect. Now they are making some hard decisions there. Anyone in the chat, if you're playing Splitgate, tell us how you feel about it. It is made by some devs that were originally part of the Halo team, so I hear that the combat systems are the moment-to-moment combat's very good. So almost Halo-like in its moment-to-moment like combat execution. So that's what puts Splitgate on some people's radars. But okay, we'll move swiftly along. How about this other quick one? The fact that Rematch has hit 1 million concurrent unique players in 24 hours. Does that hit your iCare radar or not? Okay. He's not even getting off of mute on that one. Damn. All right.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. This falls into another thing that I don't care about, which is sports and football, which is properly called around the world. But as us American troglodytes call it, soccer, do not care in the slightest.
How about if I put it in this light? This is another game this year that people are considering really great and there are millions of a million users quickly and all this, another Game Pass drop day one.
Is this also in PlayStation Plus?
I'm not aware. Folks in the chat, please let me know. I know that FC, the control based PvE game was on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus day one. I'm not sure if this one was as well. I'm not sure. I know for sure that it is in Game Pass day one. I'm not sure if it's in PlayStation Plus as well. Chat, please, if you know that, then please let us know. But I am pretty sure this is more on Game Pass's side than anywhere else. Mr. Infinite Umbra in the chat says no, he has not seen it on PlayStation Plus. So again, I bring this up. I know it's a sports game. Not everybody loves sports games. I will give this a shot. You know, it's cool. You know.
I mean,
what do you think of this idea?
Right?
Is this the year where people just go Game Pass is wild because every single banger is releasing in it? Like
no. Another listen, they are earning their subscription this year. And they're doing it in a way that from their first party to, because if you think about like how we used to define success for Game Pass, it was like, well, what's the first party? The first party is what's going to get them there. And they need to do at least a big release per quarter. And now you're getting a big release per month.
Per a couple of weeks, man. Like it's just wild.
And so whether it is from them, like this year, by the time we get to the end of the year, if you include Call of Duty and you include the other stuff, they will have done 12 releases this year. Right? We can name them all, and that's just on the first party side of things. Right? And now if you look at the games that they're getting in the service and
is it just me or is everyone started botting a little bit? I hear everyone started botting just a tiny bit. Is it just me? It could be me. My connection may be bad. Everyone's please
how do I sound?
If you're not botting. Oh yeah, it says you're a little. What is it?
Is it still that way?
A little bit, just a little bit, but you're good now. You're good. Keep going. You're good. Yeah, you may want to turn off your camera. It may be some connection, whatever. I don't know.
Okay,
but keep talking. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If we're talking about things like Atomfall, Expedition 33, what was another big one in Game Pass this year? Not from first
Oblivion, Oblivion, which is I guess first party. We did Expedition 33 already. Actually, you know what? Let me bring up the list here because that'll be much easier to determine. But yes, it's one crazy monster game after another. Another one that just came out, Blueprints, which in the indie space, many are calling Game of the Year. Yeah, still, absolutely. Okay, so let's just start from the top this year, right? Let's start from the top. So, well, we can't even start from the top because my list doesn't go that far back. I'll go Revenge of the Savage Planet. Not everybody played it. I loved that game. The first one was amazing. Second one's even better. Not too many people played that. Then that was all before Expedition 33. 33 Immortals, Doom the Dark Ages, since then, Monster Train has been added. Since then, they finally unlocked Zao. So now Zao is on that service as well, because remember, Zao was going to be on that service, right? Metaphor Refantasio is now on that service. Crypt Custodian, right. The next Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Warhammer, the Altars, obviously, FBC Firebreak, Lost in Random,
the Altars.
You know, there's just the Altar. There's just so much stuff, and there's more and more and more. They're not even stopping. It's just nuts. It's just wild. But yes, so much going on.
Yeah.
So much going on.
So, yeah. Nobody with good sense can deny Game Pass at this point. People tried to for weird reasons, but I just think right now it's pretty insane. So shout out to them.
I don't disagree. Mm-hmm. Oh, do we lose you, sir? Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
You're a little bit. It's a little bit. I don't know.
Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave and I'm going to leave and come back.
Okay. And while you do, I'll catch up on these 2 super chats and then we'll get back to it. Okay. So while Mr. Everborn Saga jumps out and jumps back in, hopefully we'll get the connection working much better. Oh, hey, I'm like on the screen now. Lord help us. All right. So Face BKNY with a $2 super chat. He says Sony has 28 billion cash on hand, which actually is not bad, man. It's actually not bad. That's a pretty good amount of cash that will help them purchase some interesting IPs and or studios. You know, that's not a small chunk of change. So, but the only thing I would say to that is it sounds like they have 23 billion on hand, and they do. But it's 23 billion on hand for the entire company, not just SIE. So I would expect that, you know, they would be a bit more advantageous and they'd be a bit more cautious in how they spend their $23 billion, the $28 billion. I'll take you at your word. You know, that is not a small chunk of change. Now, okay, so do you K now the broke boy insider? I love that name. With a $5 super chat, he says it's funny that you see fanboys say, "Who cares about players? Who cares about players? What about sales?" And then support the devs. The devs are happy with players. Support that. Yeah. So that one's always a funny misnomer because for some reason it's like support the devs unless it's a dev who makes a game you don't like or it's on a platform that you don't normally play. Then it's all of a sudden it's like who's the devs? Screw the devs, you know, that kind of thing. It's one of those situations. But I personally think that as long as specifically about that, as long as you know the developer put their game in the service or whatever, they want you to play it. They want you to have access to it. So if you're playing and you have access to it, it doesn't matter whether you got it via paying your $70 or you got it via your subscription service or whatever. You have access to it. Now you can evangelize, or maybe you can buy DLC, or you can, you know, whatever, right? So the idea that you have to do it a certain way is always a little bit suspect to me when people try to force you into one method versus another. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Anyway. So before Mr. Everborn Saga returns, I would say, like, I want to hear your thoughts on that, right? Because these days, and he has returned. These days, there's so many bangers that it makes me go, when the floodgates slow down a little bit, when the faucet is made a little bit less ridiculous, will that like bring the pitchforks out because they're getting used to just this ridiculous amounts of crazy games coming out every year. You know what I mean? It's a little worrying. I don't know. Everborn Saga, sir, you're back.
How do I sound?
Microphone check. You sound good. Can you
guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. People in the chat, if you don't hear him, please let us know. I think he sounds good. All right. So I was just talking to people about like all the craziness that has happened so far. Okay. Wow. Okay. So while we were having this conversation, I did some light searching on the over. We were talking about Game Pass, right? Some light searching over the years, and they're saying that every game that has come to Game Pass so far, if you are a Game Pass subscriber, right, and you've subscribed since the day that Game Pass was a thing. That means over 1 year, you probably spent what, $240? That's how much the normal ultimate subscription costs, $20 a month, that kind of thing. And if you have been subscribed to Ultimate for then all the way until now, you have played or potentially can play the equivalent of $27,000 worth of games. So there's that. They offer you up to 27K worth of games in that subscription service. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Anyway.
And how much would your subscription have cost you in all that time?
See, now you're asking me to do math. I'm not going to do math on the show right now. Maybe I will and add that in here. I'll add that in. Let's move on.
The claim, sir.
Hey, man, I just wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, and it gave me some interesting answers. But the reason why I wanted to have this conversation about what it offers you is because of course, and I saw that in the chat as well. Of course, when we talk about how great the value is, shortly after, this is about to happen, which is there are rumors that the price is about to be increased again. So, are we surprised? If and when this happens, will the pitchforks come out?
We talked about this last week. And to that, I would say, make sure you're stacking whenever you see a sale. They allow you to stack up to 3 years, and that can insulate you from price hikes. But if they ever raise the price and it is no longer worth it, they're going to lose subscribers. So if they want to raise the price, they're going to have to keep this cadence up. And if, that's going to be on them. So I would, once again, my Game Pass is stacked until April of 2028. So if they raise 2028 again, cool. 2028, April.
2028. Damn it! I wish I was that. I think I'm late 2027. I need to get a new update, a new card.
I will stack again, hopefully around Black Friday time when the sales come around, because I usually, on average, pay about $10 a month for it.
Yeah, I try to. I wait for that. No more than $25 per 3-month card. Right? When you get that, and then you stack multiples. So far, is it a thing that since they made that announcement,
card?
Okay, you'll take up to 30. Okay.
Yeah, that's 10.
After they made that announcement, yeah. Have you noticed that those cards are also fewer and far between? You can't find them easily. Could this be them? I'm in the pump.
The cards. Okay, now they say I sound far away. Let's see. Oh, how about now?
Hey, that sounds much closer. I think you sound decent. Yeah, absolutely. Let's quickly catch up on a couple super chats. The great J Mac, $5 super chat. He says the Game Pass avalanche is officially underway. It is clearly a content war opposed to a console war. Hashtag Graybeards in the building. I don't disagree with that sentiment, right? Like, you can play it anywhere, but where are you playing it? How much are you playing? The content wars have begun. The content wars have. I'll stop that. Forgive me. I'm sorry. The geeks know what I'm talking about. And the great VG Fight School's in the building. Salute to you, good sir. It was great having you on. Hopefully we can have you on again. He's here with a $5 super chat. He says Game Pass is better than Netflix. Gamers get multiple options, buy or rent. It raises the bar on what sub as a service should look like. Sir, I'm sure they're gonna come at you with pitchforks, but you can stand on your own. I'm sure you'll be all right. I agree with your sentiments. I do. Of course, not everybody will agree with you, but that's a war to be fought on another day. Anyway, but all right, Everborn Saga, sir. Besides all of that, I think we should talk about what we're here to talk about, which is, last week people were here talking about how you should have been here from jump. You needed to come get your flowers because we've been talking about this whole handheld thing for a long time, and now it's coming to fruition, or it's seeming to come closer and closer in the way we've been talking about. This week, luckily you're here from jump. We can really talk about it because obviously we heard the message from Sarah Bond and from Lisa Su that they are actually in a partnership to present Xbox next gen hardware. How do you see this thing coming about? It was a very, I wouldn't say cryptic, but very high level, very corpo kind of way that the message was delivered. But there's a lot there, and it seems like, there's stuff to be discussed. So I want you to start us off. We've been having discussions about this in the Discord for some time now, but let the people know. What are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, there's a lot to break down here, and I think that what is clear is that on message between Lisa Su, you mentioned Lisa Su and Floodzilla arrives,
right?
But Lisa Su and Sarah Bond are very clear to let us know this is about backwards compatibility. So in the first video, it is very clear Sarah Bond is about making Windows the best place to play. We hear Lisa Su talking about building chips that go beyond specific Xbox consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And all with backwards compatibility in mind. So when we talk about like what an Xbox is, I want you to think about this, Kay. And this people may like this, they may not like it, but as VG says, you could get pitchforks, but the truth is the truth, right?
Indeed.
Today, the only thing that your favorite flat platform holders give you in a console, the only thing they build is the case,
Mm-hmm.
right? In your PlayStation 5 and your Series X, they are slightly customizing AMD SoCs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They Sony's making the Blu-ray players, right? Western Digital or Samsung are making the SSDs, right?
Cool.
The
There are
platform
other
holder is making a
providing you the
controller.
RAM. Yeah.
Right, right. The
Mm-hmm.
platform holder is making a controller and a case and a slim case, basically, right? So when you hear Lisa Su come out and say we're working with Microsoft to design these chips, that is no different than what you have in your Series X today. It's no different from that situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is going to make an Xbox, or what's going to turn your PC into an Xbox? It's going to be your user experience. It is going to be your backwards compatible library, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what interests me about this is the potential. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk. We need to see this executed, right?
Yep.
If you are trepidatious about promises made and grandiose visions that didn't come into fruition from Microsoft, I'm right next to you as a Windows Phone refugee. But what I will say to you is that the potential is here to one, mainstream the handheld PC market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second, and what interests me is mainstreaming the mini PC market, meaning you can buy a B-Link, a Minis Forum, a GMK Tech, you name it, right? And it'll have this chip that'll have the Xbox functionality, right? And what does that mean? I don't think it is limited to backwards compatibility, because I do think what they're doing with AMD, and we can get into the particulars of this, I think what they're doing with AMD and this partnership seems not undifferent than Microsoft saying we want to push Copilot, so every new system has to have an MPU on it if you want to be considered a Copilot PC. Or when they said if you want to upgrade to Windows 11, you got to have a TPM chip on your motherboard, right? I think this is going to be a standard that they're building into these AMD chips as just a feature. And so, what if it doesn't? And I think that is what they're going to use to enable backwards compatibility. But I don't think it stops there, because right now, today, I don't care if you got a $3,000 5090 or a $1,500 4090 or a $700 9070 XT, right? They do not include HDMI CEC controls. That's the thing that turns on your TV when you turn on your console, right? It's a simple thing. It's a couple of dollars for it, but most people don't connect their PCs to TV. It's not there. I wonder, and I think this chip has those kind of console-like features. So one, it's backwards compatibility. Two, it's the TV controls. Three, I wonder if these chips, at least not the discrete GPUs, but the SoCs, if those will have the proprietary Xbox wireless controller support, right? And if all those things that make an Xbox, if you're building those things into these chips, and you could walk into a store shelf and just a store and pick up a handheld or a mini PC running one of these SoCs that has all the Xbox features, I think the potential is there to mainstream those markets and kind of just become the sort of Android OS of gaming OSs, right? Meaning it won't be about a single device, but all the manufacturers will be able to make these things.
Okay.
So that to me is very interesting, and the potential there to sort of create these new markets for the partners is exciting to me. I have no idea whether they pull it off, but and again, these guys are the kings of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But I'm very excited about this, to say the least.
Okay. So, all right. So I agree with you that this is an interesting place we find ourselves, right? Real quick. The Great Sith Lord, who's been a member for 14 months, says, I love my Switch 2. Donkey Kong looks like a game of the year. Well, we'll see when Donkey Kong releases, good sir. I want it to release soon, and it hasn't yet, and that is the boot that I'm keeping on the neck of Nintendo. Needless to say, though, about this news here, I agree with you that this is super interesting, and that this will bring about some interesting potential futures, right? The first analogy I thought of in my head when this thing came about, when this news was announced, is in other industries, when the biggest dog in the room orders your parts, right? When they order their parts, now all of a sudden, because their yield and their size and their scale is so massive that it trickles down to everyone else, even if they didn't order those as well. Meaning, if you are the big dog in the room and you order a bunch of SoCs for this specific purpose, it makes that chip easier to attain by other smaller companies, because that chipset now, by the idea of the scale that you're ordering, makes the rest of the market easier to obtain said chips, right? So to your point, that does seem like a world that could be, but I would caution us thinking that is a foregone conclusion, because it's not only an execution, it's also how they deliver that message, right?
Yeah,
right. It's how they deliver that message. Historically, Microsoft delivering the message of, hey, join our app store, the answer is usually now, right? We have this new method. It's great. Everyone will love it. Be a part of it. Usually dev's response, no, right? They mandate it. It's got to happen. And then even what you were describing here, TPM chips and all of that, right? You know what's happening? You can download the open source application called Rufus, run it through the installer, and it'll strip the TPM requirement out of Windows, right? Even though they are moving the ball forward,
I think the point is,
even though they're moving the ball forward, even though they're moving the ball forward, they don't know how to deliver the message to a point where people want to do what you ask them to. They always end up taking the moving people along, kicking and screaming, unlike Apple, who tells you, hey, you want to do this, and they convince the consumer base that it's a good idea for you to lose your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. You know what I mean? It's about messaging more than anything else, right? So when it comes to that, I'm a little bit cautious about how they'll do it, because it is all about the messaging, all about that messaging, right? Because if they deliver the message wrong, it will be another fight where people will be like, oh yeah, well, hell no, I don't want this, just like they do, right? We've had this conversation before about the Xbox One gen, when they were actually
hell no, they don't want Copilot right now. That's not stopping it from being on every device, right?
Yes, but also Copilot also isn't moving the needle in a real way right now, right? It's there, but I don't think that we are at a point now where Copilot can be said to, at least on-prem, on device. I don't think Copilot has moved the needle in computing in a real way, right? I'm the online version, the one that you can just have on hand to assist you. I would say yes, that has moved the needle in the computing in a big way. But on device, where you have that Copilot button, I don't think that has mattered to people just enough just yet. Am I wrong in that?
I mean, the Better Business Bureau is actually taking Microsoft to task in saying that you're saying Copilot is doing a lot more than it actually is. So,
and I see you,
what you will.
I see you in the chat, Jago. I know I use it every day as well. I'm not saying I don't use it. I'm just saying that as a component that's on-prem, it hasn't moved the needle. But I'm being specific when I say on-prem. The one that's available on browser, the one that's available on your phone, the one that just, as a general computing thing that's available as an online connected thing, no doubt that has moved the needle. But if you were to disconnect it from the internet and just have this device on-prem, your laptop, you're in a desert somewhere, like Copilot doesn't really do much in that world. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess the thing that I'm saying, or that I'm
Mm.
getting at, is if we consider Nintendo kind of deciding that they couldn't do the arms race anymore with Sony and Microsoft, right? It wasn't working for
Mm-hmm,
their
mm-hmm,
business, right?
mm-hmm,
They would just be third place in that world, and so they said, well, where are we strong? Let's focus there and merge our efforts with that. I think Windows has been so ubiquitous in our lives that it has fallen so far in the background that we do not realize how much of an actual monopoly they have, right?
oh yeah,
So
people don't know
when we
how
talk
strong
about,
that grip is. Yeah,
right.
keep
So
going. Yep.
when we talk about PC gaming, right? Um, like I understand that Steam is the big dog, but that is still built on the back of the Windows platform,
Of
right?
Windows,
And
yes,
in
yes, yes,
terms
yes.
of what the OEMs will do, the OEMs will do what Microsoft tells them. Now, I'm not saying that that is a good or a bad thing. I am just saying when Microsoft wants to move their OEM partners in a certain direction, they do it, right?
Mm.
Now, will it take off? We will see, right? But they will all try it at least in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and yes, Windows is a monopoly, but also Windows as a platform. I know like Steam OS has all the mind share, but in reality, when we are talking about gaming on PC, it takes place on Windows, right? Now,
True.
that doesn't mean that those Windows gamers want an Xbox experience. I'm not saying that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I am saying is, I could today, from a casual perspective, give a Steam Deck to someone who is not tech savvy, doesn't want to do sysadmin, and I know this because I've given away 3 of them to people who
Mm-hmm.
do not even know that it is a Linux-based system, right? And I think from a perspective of having an easy to use device that has access to other things for those who want it, and now has the compatibility of Windows with the sort of distribution that Windows OEMs can offer, I think that that's a powerful combination, right? Simplify it so you can just give the device to someone who doesn't want to do sysadmin, right? And then still have it open enough for the people who do, and
Mm.
being connected with enough OEM partners that this thing can be in not just a special Best Buy deal, but also in Target, also in Walmart, also in a Staples, right? To where you could
Mm.
just buy the thing and kind of not think about it, right? And this doesn't
Okay.
mean we're dumbing down the PC. This is just an easier user interface. And now what they're doing with AMD hopefully is giving people the extra piece that you would need to have that sort of console experience, which is
Okay.
hopefully controlling of a TV, using existing Xbox wireless controllers, backwards compatibility if you have an Xbox library, like launching into a gaming oriented posture. All those
Mm.
things are what's required. Very tall order, but it does seem that they are trying to address this. And I think it has the, I'm not saying it's going to take over anybody, but and I don't really care about that. What I do care is that it has the potential to create sort of a new market of more open ecosystems. And that to
Okay.
me is exciting.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. We have Brat in the chat asking, for those who don't want to do this sysadmin, isn't that why a console exists, right? Which I agree with, and I think that's the reason why that paradigm, that idea of a console, even though it's not necessarily being made from a bespoke technical level, it's still being kept and still being fed as a PR entity, as a brand or a marketing item, right? Like the idea of a sysadmin-less device that just works is a unique and still very it's an idea that people will gravitate towards. Not everybody wants to be a power user. People just want to hit play, right? Although I do think that consoles as that concept no longer exists. in the world where min-spec and x86 and all of that. So they're trying to convince people that the console still exists, when in fact it's just a way that they are trying to present a PC to you. Because that's what that will be ultimately.
Yeah, this is 1,000% about transitioning. Yeah, this is 1,000% about transitioning their very valuable. I know. I understand that console we live in the Talladega Nights, where if you're not number one, then if you're not first, you're last.
You don't
that.
exist. That's
but
right.
We're talking about you're talking about customers that are worth billions of dollars to them before ABK.
Yeah.
Right. And so, how can? And again, I'm not denying that like console is a big, like producing hardware is a big drag on margins, right? But how do you transition these highly valuable consumers to PC, where one, you're in control, two, you don't have to worry about them missing content, and three, you can offload the hardware manufacturing to your partners who you have great relationships with. This is about transitioning those users without losing as many as possible. If you do it today and you go to PC, you're basically just handing customers to Gabe, right? Because they're going to get there, they're going to see what your user experience is, and they're going to end up on Steam. If you give them a softer landing, you have a much greater potential of keeping those customers that you value today. Right?
I don't disagree.
I think that's what this is about. So this is about a transition for them. And again, I think this is super smart. And I also think it makes no sense for the other players to do it.
Yes. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
If you're Microsoft.
Yeah.
So another thing that we do a lot, right?
Well, all right. Mr. Lilly says he disagrees with them aboard on everything. All right, sir.
Why don't you come and explain why, sir?
Explain why he's just so wrong about everything. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing his explanation. Good.
I'm not gonna lie, Paris. That sounds like coming from a place of Sonic hate. So
he says he's kidding, but you know,
is he though? Is he? No,
I'm not sure.
But when I say it doesn't make sense for the other platform holders, right? The other platform holders are not the trademark holders of Windows, right?
Yeah.
They don't own Windows, right? And again, I don't think Sony, who will not even give you a browser today,
well, they will give you a browser. They'll just hide it. You know, there is a browser there. They just won't let you know that it's there. But that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
I don't think those people are interested in and again, it doesn't make sense. The current model suits them, right? Now, if you want to, you know, if you like that current model of things, and I know there are people in this chat that never want anything to change because that's what they.
One moment, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Then
forgive me a moment. When you ask it, it shall arrive. Ladies and gentlemen, because he will not be regulated to sit hanging out in the chat. He wants to continue the slander in person. Well, digitally. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Paris Lilly, let's go. What's going on, sir?
Good morning. And obviously,
how you doing, man?
I'm good. Obviously, everyone, I was just kidding. You know, I was just joking. You're spot on.
I understand. Hey, just to piss you off, I'm currently printing a chunky Sonic right now.
I'm sure you are.
Right, so I'm gonna mail this to you, Paris. This is gonna show. I don't know where you live, but this is gonna show up at your doorstep.
Please do.
So go ahead, Paris. Tell us what you think. Yeah.
And I swear I'm not gonna ramble for 30 minutes or an hour.
No, please speak on it, sir. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm only jumping into partial of the conversation. I heard what Everborn was just saying, and he is correct. I mean, look, this pivot that they're doing, going to this Windows OS, whatever this console is ultimately going to be, as far as what they're allowing, as far as digital stores, what the UI is going to be, the openness, all that. You know, we talked about this last week. They still got a lot of work to do on it. I think it's exciting in concept, but will it actually work in execution? That is going to be the big question for them. When you're now allowing other digital stores onto your platform, Phil essentially has already said this, they're no longer trying to get you to jump onto their store. The only thing they can do is innovate with the hardware and provide incentives for you to want to start getting games on their digital store. I'm sure this next Xbox, the first digital store that you're going to be presented will be theirs. You will have to go do some work to get to the Steam store or whatever. But as a consumer, if I'm used to buying games on Steam and that's where I want to play, then I'm not even going to buy them through the Xbox console. I will continue to buy them through my PC, wherever I was buying them before. And if I want to jump onto this console and play those games, they're there because you've allowed that store to be a part of it. Or they don't care anymore. We'll take the 70% because they've done all these acquisitions. They've made themselves arguably the biggest publisher now. So it may be they're saying, okay, we're going to take a loss on the 30% we would have gotten from third-party games that were on our store. Sure, they'll still get some traction, but now moving forward, it'll be less than it was previously. And for people that want our first-party games but don't want to buy them from us where we get 100%, we're still getting that 70% for that. We'll get 70% on Steam or whatever the math is on that. We'll get the 70 from PlayStation, Epic Store, GOG on down the line. I mean, the simplest way that I think of this moving forward is they are no longer trying to get you to come to them. We're going to bring the games to you, wherever you are. And yes, we will still make hardware. We'll still try and innovate on it to do something unique to make you want to buy it. It ain't going to be cheap. Let's be clear on that. But that option is going to continue to be there. And it is now up to the consumer on where you choose to play your games moving forward. That's just the simplest way that I think of it. People can argue and fuss on social media about sales numbers and blah, 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 all the live long day. They're, as you have said, Everborn, they're Microsoft, not micro hard.
Say it.
So
don't do this, man. Don't do this. You're gonna make this thing a thing. No,
Paris, you have more of a microphone than I do. I want you to keep saying this. Because I would like it to catch on. Now,
the next time we hear Aaron Greenberg say this is Microsoft, not micro hard, I will be very upset. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Well, it is a little awkward. I don't think you're going to exec to say it, but the point that Everborn is making.
Give me some time, Paris. We can make this.
We'll see. But no, they're a software company. They're obviously leveraging on what they're good at right now. And yeah, again, like I said, they got work to do. This is not. Yep, it's a wrap. You know, I saw an article saying that they're going to win the next generation already. It's like, you don't know that. Well, we got to see. You don't know what PlayStation is planning to do. We don't know what the consumer is planning to do. They're providing the option, but what if people don't want to invest in it? And then I do think if this hardware, let's just pretend now, if this hardware and the partnered hardware that they're going to have in this next generation, we know this will take us into probably the mid 2030s at this point, right? If the sales numbers on it just aren't there, why would Microsoft at that point? Because remember, at this point, Phil Spencer's no longer there. Satya is probably no longer there. It is new leadership. They may look at the bottom line on this and go, well, why don't we just be a full-on publisher and stop making hardware if everything that we've tried, the customer simply does not want to invest in? We've given you an open platform. We've given you hardware that's unique, where you can buy games off of multiple digital stores, all these things. You got a handheld, we got Game Pass for you, we got all these things that we've given you, but the customer would still rather play on their PlayStation 6. Then, okay, we'll just stop trying and we'll just put our games on the PlayStation 6 on our PC and we'll call it a day. That's what I think.
So the thing is this,
it's a valid take.
I still feel like that view is more rooted in sort of console gaming, meaning like it's a purview of a hardware based thing. And I think that to my mind, they've already moved past it now. Like whatever device they release, if it is made by them, at this point doesn't matter if it is like proper Windows based. Right. Because it's this thing where we don't like, if I told you what's a bigger platform, iPhone or Android, right? And then you come back to me and said, look how much the newest iPhone sold. That doesn't really matter in the tech context of Android, right? Because it's one ecosystem with a bunch of different device manufacturers, right? And so the you can, if you have a console purview now, you can consider Xbox gone as a console.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is about them merging what we know of
With
Xbox
their PC. Yeah.
with
With their
PC.
Windows
And again,
ecosystem.
we need to see the actual story behind backwards compatibility. But if they solve that properly in the way we hope that they do, whatever used to
Why
be
do we
considered
care
an
what
Xbox
it's
console
called?
doesn't matter
Yeah.
anymore. Right? They've effectively, whether anyone at the end of the day, PC gaming will be here longer than both PlayStation and Xbox. Right? We are trending towards, at some point. It may not even be in our lifetimes. I'm not talking about PlayStation, it doesn't matter. Right? The point is PCs will be there. And if they're merging this and your existing library and features into Windows, that doesn't go away. Whatever happens with where people want to play. Right? Now, the only thing I could say is, will this new gaming experience that okay, yeah, it's using their UI, but it also may save you like processing cycles and memory just because of them shutting certain things down. I don't know any PC gamer that wouldn't want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I think that's
again,
the part of the conversation we don't talk enough about. We don't talk enough about that part, right? I feel like the UI UX conversation is a bit of a smokescreen, and we spend a lot of time on that because obviously console users want that easy, seamless UI UX, no doubt. But I feel like the real meat and potatoes here, the future look here, is that the bigger ecosystem, which is PC, will get a lot of benefits here, right? That it'll get a lot of that customization in the PC world that we've been looking for quite some time. And it looks like, and I want us to adjudicate that a bit more, right? Get them to give us a bit more meat on that bone, because that's where the pitfalls potentially lie, specifically in older games, right? Newer games will be fine, but older games, that may still be a bit of a problem, right? And you saying that, hey, this is where you can play all your games. What are you doing to make those older games feel more console-like? Because that's where it may be problematic. But to your point, Everborn, I think this is a very good look for the future for anyone and everyone who games on this backbone that is the Windows ecosystem, because this will fix a lot of things for everyone. At least that's right. What it looks like.
Again,
anyway.
I think people, and again, this is just working against 25 years of history. I'm not blaming anyone for thinking this way. I think people are having issues wrapping their heads around the idea of Xbox being more than a single box. It doesn't matter that they've been telling you that for the last whatever years. You're still going up against 25 years of history. I get it. I'm not blaming you. I'm not mad at you. But because of the way that people view Xbox as a brand, it is difficult for them to associate it with Windows as a platform. And I'm not even talking about Windows like Excel spreadsheets. I'm talking about gaming on Windows, right?
Which also itself has been horrible for some time. Yeah.
Sure, but people have no choice but to use it, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this is them integrating Xbox in as something that is unavoidable. Straight up.
Paris.
And again,
I'm not sure
even when we talk about generations, just really quick, Kay, you and I have been on this since I think 2021. Generations died with in 2013 when they went x86. Right? We're just getting better versions of the same things, and we're now in the world of min spec. So you may call something a PlayStation 6 or whatever they call some Xbox hardware. It doesn't matter. Like the way games are developed now, it is, can what we're doing technology wise support that old hardware, which is on the same x86 architecture, then
as
we'll
the
put
past
it there,
generation,
right? Even Sony just told you that they still have a large amount of PS4 people playing, right? So the Switch right now is really a Super Nintendo Switch, if you will. Right?
No,
as opposed to a Switch 2, right?
Yes,
because it's really about continuing to be able to play the same games and you have a catalog.
Yep.
And that's just what we're moving towards. And if we are trending in that direction, if you really cannot find a game for technical reasons like it used to be, there's no game that's not on PC unless it's like a business deal. There's no technical reason for a game not to be on PC. That is where things are trending, and this is a way, because again, if you're gaming on PC, there's a 90+% chance you're gaming in Windows, a Microsoft owned platform, and now they're merging their other platform with the strong one.
With it. Yep.
And I think a long time Xbox has been viewed as a certain position, in a certain position of sort of weakness, and people are having trouble thinking about that in context with something that is as ubiquitous as Windows.
As Windows, yep. Steve Biko asks, and I don't know how much time we have with you, Paris, so it's a good way to transition to our next port of call when it comes to this. Are we seeing this new console direction next year?
So here's
when do you think we see this, sir? Put on your tinfoil kufi. You are here. Let's go. What you got?
I do not think you see it in 2025 because I think the Xbox Ally X is essentially a pre-alpha to the ultimate vision of what they're trying to do for Windows, right? So no, I don't think you see that this year. This is just the first step in many to get there. I think 2026 we get a lot clearer idea of what this whole Windows OS, the AMD partnership is going to look like, the backwards compatibility layer to this. All of that, I think we see more in 2026 because, again, it's the 25th anniversary of Xbox. I think they're trying to lead up to something big by the end of November 15th, 2026. Now, tinfoil hat time. I see two options here. You, on November 15th, 2026, I have no insight. This is not someone whispered in my ear. This is me guessing now. I want to be clear.
Flip it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. What you got?
But on November 15th, 2026, I think we get a Combat Evolved remake. And I think you get one or two options. Either the showcase in June of 2026, they reveal the new console and it launches on November 15th, 2026, or that date they show it. But on that day, we will know what their next generation console looks like. Either we'll have it in our hands or they show it to us.
When do you think consumers can go and buy one? When do you think that will happen?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
2026?
If they reveal, because if you can buy it, they'll reveal it at the showcase next year.
They'll reveal it before, yes. So if you think we can buy it for holiday 2026, then here's my tinfoil question. Do we not see it at the Game Awards this year?
No, you wait until the showcase next year. No.
Because historically, and Brad Sams brought this out, historically, they've done this exactly the same way. Last time they did this, you saw it like a couple days, like we saw, and then at the let me finish real quick. Then at the Game Awards, we saw, Hellblade 2 footage and all of that. That happened the last time they did this. So Brad is thinking that because of that, it may happen similarly again now. Everboard, I'm sorry, you wanted to interject.
Okay, so there's two things. First, I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
Game Logic will be buying an Xbox.
He's finally off the fence. He's off the fence. We got him.
All right, and to that end, and this is an interesting question. This one's for Paris. And I genuinely don't know the answer to this. Looking at the announcement with AMD, looking at the partnership with Asus, is the next Xbox console, because I believe they will, like, what the change we're going to see now is that whatever you would put in a console will be on offer to other OEMs. So anyone could make an Xbox that has the features of backwards compatibility, TV controls, and support for Xbox peripherals, right? Is the next and it will be a console. I'm not even having that debate. If it plays your games, if it has your friends and achievements, and it's backwards compatible, it's a console. You can argue with your mama about it, right? But will that console will it be made in partnership with an OEM partner, or will it be made directly by Microsoft? I don't know the answer to that.
I think there's the potential of both.
I was going to say the same thing. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Speak on it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just to elaborate further, I see them having their own version of it, their own. And I've talked about this before, where I see them having essentially their spec model of whatever the console is by them. Like, hey, here's the specs, here's the chip, the GPU, all those things. But then an Asus or an MSI or whoever can make their own variant of it at various performance and price levels. But I think the Microsoft one, the Xbox one, and I'm just pulling a random number out, $899. Here's what it is. Plays your games at 4K 60, looks great, blah, 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 all that. But here's the Asus one that has a better chip in it and more memory in it and all these things. And it's $1,200 and you can buy that too. And it does the same, I can see that future for them.
Yep.
But we'll see, obviously. But to your point about the Game Awards, I don't think you give Jeff that this early. That's pretty early.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think obviously they did it in 2019 with the Series X. I almost view that as a one-off for them. I think they've laid enough hints of where they're going that they don't need to reveal it with Jeff this year. Again, they can wait until June of next year and do it there, because you got to think January they're going to have their Dev Direct. I would imagine we're seeing Fable and some other things, big 25th anniversary games there, that you want the focus to be on that and not this console that at that point would still be essentially a year away.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And to your point, last time they did it, they needed the attention, right? And that's why they did that. And it was actually, it worked really well, because we talked about Hellblade 2 for like almost a year. Now they have so much in the tank, it would take away from some of the other stuff they need attention from. So I do see your point where they'll show it off closer to when you can buy it, because it's not even about the hardware. It's more about the games. And there are lots of games in the tank they're continuing to speak about. I can see that. Yeah, that is a good point. I see you on that. Nerds and other legends in the chat talking about it. We've talked about it before, and I completely agree with him. This seems like it seems to be a full circle moment where they're going back to what they originally built, which is a direct Xbox. Yeah. If you guys have seen that documentary, you know what we're talking about. That was the original intent of the Xbox. He's still making it.
Can I say this really quick before you continue?
Go ahead. Yeah.
It never even dawned on me that's where the name Xbox came from directly.
Really? Wow.
Never dawned on me. Okay. I was like, oh man, I'm dumb.
Yeah. I saw that Seamus Blackley interview many years ago. Super interesting. I've always been about that stuff. So it is a very interesting, notable thing that they're going back to that original concept, that original idea. I actually also think this is also kind of the Xbox One idea, where everyone goes to that one, the HDMI 1 idea, right? No matter what you want to play, no matter what store you want, here's the device that gets you there, right? It's very much Xbox One in its energy and its delivery method. So let's do a couple super chats. Brap Basement Radio Arcade Podcast with a $5 super chat. He says, does the panel think Microsoft is trying to carve its slice of the market of the consumers that sits between console and PC?
Can I answer this, and then I'm going to take off?
Please.
I think yes, right? They're trying to blur the lines between what is a console and what is a PC, where they're essentially saying every damn thing's an Xbox, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, instead of us having a forked version of Windows moving forward, Windows just is the operating system, regardless if it's the device that sits under your living room TV or if it's in your hands or you build it yourself. Whatever. I think that's the ultimate goal for all of this. So yeah, I do think that's the case.
There you go. And by the way, before you get out of here, I asked the question, next gen Xbox, the Xbox is a PC with an Xbox full screen UI. As a console main, will you buy it? So far, we have about 75 or 73 votes or so. 63% say heck yes.
In that. I think you should include a price with the will you buy it, because somebody might be on board now, and when they get hit with that price. But yeah.
We're not going to price point just yet. Well, because this is not the handheld, right? The handheld is a different kind. We're talking next gen console. I don't even want to go there yet, because the handheld is still fresh, and I'm not even sure on that yet right now. So 2027's price, that is a dubious concept. I don't even want to speculate on right now. I don't know. We'll see. Only 12%
one thing
no.
I just
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that speaks to the show and the audience that we have, because I think this is very exciting from a technology standpoint, and handhelds are an emerging market. I do want to shout out to Pixelbit G, because he's been saying this for a long time, and the graybeards will understand this.
Yep.
What this is a 3DO model, right?
Yes. Yes.
And the only difference is, and again, that's what makes this interesting and special to me, is that Windows is as ubiquitous as it is, and you can, if you want a game on PC, you would have to do a lot of work to avoid Windows, and making that experience better, even if you don't like buy from their store. I don't care where you buy from, but them again trimming down Windows and making the user experience work better, where you can still access your favorite store, I think is a plus to everybody. And that's the real thing about it. I don't necessarily care if they dominate. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to get this thing or use this OS and probably still primarily buy from Steam. That doesn't make it not worth doing. It just makes the experience better on Windows, and it saves. I actually
think that is a big thing that people who use Steam, this may not be for them. It may not be marketed towards them purposely, but it might be one of those markets that people end up enjoying. People who like to play on Steam but want their libraries as well. This might be very good for them. I'm sorry, finish.
Can I say that, because I do got to go. If I could just jump in,
please.
I want to answer your question, and then I want to comment on what you just talking about. So for me, yes, I would still get this next gen console, obviously price pending, we'll see, but because I would want something that still sits under my television in the living room, right? So I would still want a device that sits there and does that, and the fact that it could synergize with my other devices, PC handhelds and all that, I think that would still be ideal to me. Now, to answer one thing, I just almost like a statement I just want to say is, I understand what social media is. Everybody wants to have an opinion. Everybody wants to have a voice. That is fine. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. But I hope now that Microsoft is clearly doing something different than what PlayStation is doing, they're clearly doing something different than what Nintendo is doing. We're the consumer. We got to stop. I see it so much, worrying about sale numbers and this sold this and this, that. Look, as long as it's available to me and I can play it as a consumer, you choose. I don't care what someone else does. If your preference is that platform and the way they deliver games to you, good for you. If I like the other one, good for me. But this whole constant, like I've seen it for the last 2 weeks, people worrying about how much something is going to sell. If it appeals to you,
2 weeks.
Well, I know, you know what I'm saying. This is really in your minds, but buy what makes sense to you as a customer. That's all. And I just see people way too concerned about how other people spend their money. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Paris,
before you go, I want to say one thing to you before you go, which is, when we first heard about the sort of change in direction of Xbox, what was the biggest complaint you heard? I'm worried. I'm not console worried. I'm worried about my library. Now they're telling you you're going to get your library natively. Yeah. And so now, to me, everybody got to be in the shut the F up mode, because you said that's what you was worried about, your history on the platform and your library. If again, let's see if they do it properly. But if they do it properly, I'm not taking any questions.
And that's kind of the final thing
said they wanted.
Yeah, and that's the final thing I was going to say. They still need to do the work. It's great in theory, like I said before, but let's see how they execute it. If they execute it in a way that's acceptable, then to your point, what are we even talking about at this point? Just go do your thing. But look, if they fall on their face trying to do this and they piss off everyone because now my digital library is scattered all across devices and I can't access that, valid. 100%.
Yep. The great Paris Lilly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here, Paris. It is always a pleasure to have you, sir. Whenever you know that invite link is always available to you, sir. Whenever you're available. Thank you for being here.
I got the back.
You know where to find Paris. You know where to find him. I'll still put his stuff up in the description when this thing posts. Thank you, Paris. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, sir.
Thank you.
So, Brap, let's finish his statement. Do you think, and this to you, Everborn, do you think this sits somewhere in between the console and PC user? I have already said that I think this is probably both users are very much in target for this. They just have to calibrate their message for each individual audience a little differently, and they may be able to capture some of both of them. What are your thoughts, sir?
I think this is how you get the existing Xbox user over to PC, where it is cheaper to cheaper for Microsoft to service those customers. This is how you do it. So if you're console and PC, sure, this will be great for you. Because another thing we have to acknowledge, right? I can talk whatever I want about CEG, but there's a lot of people who game on PC they're fine with the mouse and keyboard situation, right? And that's probably a lot of the strategy people, right? All of those guys.
There are also people who aren't strategy people who are also fine with, who are controller people, but don't necessarily
Sure. But my point is, so I think this is specifically a way to get those highly valuable console people who may be intimidated by PC over there, where once again you want to keep.
One second, Everborn, I need to pump you a little bit. I know we have a little bit of a delay as well.
Hey, whoa, slow! You're not pumping anything, sir.
Pause. Nerds and Other Legends in the chat with a great comment saying, please join the Discord. It is amazing. Come for the conversation. Sometimes civil, often intellectual, always slanderous and fun. That is the bumper sticker, I think. Sometimes civil.
That might be a tagline.
Often intellectual. That's it. I'm sorry, I had to do that.
Use that for the tagline of GCP in general. Yes.
Sometimes civil, often intellectual. That's great. That's my favorite one yet. So I'm sorry. Continue. You were making a point.
If there's a description that we can put in the Discord, I want to write that. But where did I leave off before that banger of a headline?
You were talking about their hardware and their ecosystem and what it means for consumers when they're able to bridge the gap and execute correctly. Right.
Okay, yeah. And in terms of like who this is for, I think this is for the PC curious crowd, right? To get them over there, and then once they're over there, they can enjoy the benefits. And again, we can worry about, well, are they going to get there and go to Steam? The thing is this: PC, and I'm not talking about from a revenue perspective, but from a user perspective, PC is where we're seeing the most growth right now. Right? So there are new users coming on every day. And again, 9 out of 10 of those new users will be using Windows. So if you have a user experience that funnels them towards your wares, and again, you're not like locking them out of other people. This is another thing people have to understand. And I really don't know why more people haven't discussed this. Because Windows is a monopoly. If they turn Windows into something that locked people away from
everybody coming for
their competitor stores, it would be over for them. Regulators will be breathing down their necks. Lena Khan would be putting out TikToks talking about I was right. Adam Connell would have shaky cam videos about how terrible this is. You can't this is not something they could do as Microsoft and Windows lock. So there was no scenario where if they're moving to Windows that they could even lock out these guys if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
So it's being able to access Steam is a foregone conclusion if they're going the Windows route. And again, we get really focused on, well, what about those third-party sales that they'll lose? I really need people to look up the concept of the tyranny of the default. By the way, guys, I don't know if you know this, the Lena Khan thing was a joke. I understand. No longer head. I think it's Andrew something
Yeah.
other that is in charge.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
anyway, the point is, I think that um, having the default experience for the new gamers that are coming online to PC, and again transitioning their existing, say it with me, highly valuable Xbox customers that spend a
Mhm.
lot of money on the platform to the tune of billions of dollars. That is who this is for, and if it grows from there, great. But if this maintains the billions of dollars that they're currently making from Xbox users, great. And another thing to think about, those third party things, sure, there'll be third party sales that you'll lose, but remember, no matter what store you are going to, if you look at the amount of IPs that they've acquired in the last 5 years on top of their own, they've got 3 to 5 titles in people's top 10 stores. You name the platform.
Everywhere. Yep. So because of that, if and when they go back to that same conversation, that same fight with regulators, all those original arguments are out off the table, because look at the competitor stores. Our games are everywhere. So yes, they may come up with a different argument, but that original argument of disenfranchising their rivals, that is a non-starter now, because all our games, including games that we were originally putting as exclusives, are now everywhere. Right. So while people don't like that idea, it does inoculate them from that line of criticism and scrutiny. It may be why the ones who wanted to win that argument, it may be why they won out. Because yeah, you want us to buy more? Sure, we'll buy more, but that means we have to put our games everywhere so that regulators don't come after us and say we're trying to disenfranchise others. It's an interesting concept.
We don't need them to buy more when they're doing all these layoffs, but I hear you.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, right? Yes, that's right. That's right. JD Gamer, great JD Gamer, he's here with a $10 super chat. He says the message that MS has to deliver to OHMs is a simple one, right? There is money on the table. Gamers typically spend more on their rigs and accessories. Now the message to consumers is about value and convenience. That's an interesting take. You know, I've heard people fighting the good fight, talking about value should never be where they hang their hat. I agree that value and convenience is those two are a very compelling argument to be made. Some don't agree with me. JD, join our Discord, sir. I have a feeling you would really thrive in our Discord, where we have those mental octagon conversations. You always bring some great thoughts to the table. Join the Discord. I think you'd enjoy it. The great Game Logic, who's here with a $20 super chat. He says co-engineering silicon for a portfolio of devices sounds like a more integrated relationship and go-to-market plan than the past years. We've quote-unquote selected AMD to be the chip vendor of our next-gen Xbox, right? It sounds more, and I agree with him on that. What do you think? It's the idea of just picking a vendor is different than the idea of we are partnering with these guys to bring devices to next-gen. It seems like it's a far more close relationship. What do you think? Everyone.
I don't know if I would say it's far more close. And I think Logic seems like he's pointing out the difference in where we are now and
where they were before to now, yes,
than what we have today, right? That being said, I brought up it not being different as a way to say that, like, a lot of people are honing in on whatever they decide makes a console. And the only point that I was making today is that today your platform holder is not designing these chips themselves. They're customizing chips that are on offer from either AMD or in Nintendo's case, NVIDIA, and then they're getting the other parts from other
vendors.
Right. So again, this idea that it has to be made, and the plastic on the outside of the box, even though it's using mostly generic parts, like I don't know if that's what defines a platform more so than, again, your library, your friends list, your achievements or trophies,
all of that.
your game
ability to communicate with your friends while gaming live, all that stuff.
The user experience that you're used to, those are the things that make up a platform or an ecosystem. So I
Mhm.
just don't know that it matters that there's one more label on the outside of the box. Is the
Not
point I
wrong.
was making.
No.
So the other thing that I did want to talk
Let
about
me finish,
is
let me finish a couple of the chats. We have three
yeah.
more, and then we'll get back to it before we get out of here. Game Logic, $5 super chat. He says in past years, that has been a press release, not a co-marketing announcement and video spot from both companies. This is what I'm saying. I agree with him on this, right? It sounds like they're at least in the public, they sound like they're making overtures as to their relationship being more integrated and closer than what we should expect from them
Well,
historically.
I think because now and again, I think this leads to my point about I think this is about integrating Xbox specific features like again, I know
Into
like when we
Windows,
get
right?
right. Well, into AMD SoCs and hopefully discrete GPUs, right? And again, I understand that like technically once we're talking about a hypervisor, you just need enough raw
Yeah,
horsepower, you should be able to
it's
do anything.
ubiquitous
But
hardware. Yeah.
sure. But and we can have that discussion another day. My only point is what they're getting at is Xbox will be built into AMD chipsets, right?
In general,
Xbox
yeah. I
features,
get that.
right?
Yeah.
And
So
so
where you and I had that conversation, where maybe I think I'm seeing where you're coming from now, is the idea that I think what initially had me trepidatious on this is the fact that they would hang the compatibility on the chip, and that's where I'm like, I don't know about that. But if you add that as a feature, but the whole idea being this is what we will these are the requirements we will hit in order for you to call it an Xbox, like writ large, right? Then that is just another feature set that is part and parcel of the writ large Xbox license or requirement set, right? So they can yada 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 the idea that whether it's hardware required or not away as part of compatibility, because you still need to have the throughput to make the guest and host be performant and all of that. So all of that can kind of come together to say, okay, this is our Xbox versus just the specifics of back compat. You see what I'm
right,
saying? Yeah.
And that's why I think it goes bigger than back
Yeah.
compat, if that's even what they're using now. But
Yeah.
that does lend the question. I have a 4090 right now. I'm planning on buying an Xbox Ally X. I have a ROG Ally X. You've got what PC you got. Everybody in here has got PCs. Is Xbox coming to PC or is Xbox coming to specific AMD APUs and GPUs?
I think in the short term, it's probably the latter, but ultimately it's the former. Like in the
Like
short
we'll
term,
get the UI, but I'm talking about these Xbox
yes,
specific.
that's my point. In the short term, we may get the UI and some elements of it. In the long term, ultimately, when the dust have settled, and I'm talking about a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years, eventually you'll be able to DIY it and get everything like for like. But in the short term, I don't think that's how it works. I think in the short term, they will whitelist devices that get you full back compat and get you all the feature sets that they call Xbox, right? And that's where I agree with you that that's where that AMD partnership becomes useful, and that can help train the consumer base what an Xbox is in this new paradigm. But ultimately, that will be broken away because eventually an NVIDIA device has to be an Xbox. Whatever device you have, even DIY shit, my one, has to be an Xbox, right? But in the short term, it may be the Asus-backed AMD handhelds and or set-top boxes, greenlit, whitelisted, right, rather, that get that label.
Yeah. So for example, right, and this is another thing, right? Today, right, I have my 4090 that's connected to the TV, right? And I have my ROG Ally X. Now, and I have my Surface devices, right? Now my desktop does not by default have access to tablet features, right?
Yes.
Now today handhelds are basically, as far as Windows concerned, before this update that they're doing, They're basically considered tablets because they have a touchscreen. If Windows does not detect a touchscreen, you don't get access to the tablet features. So, and I like some of the tablet features because it blowing up on the TV, it does things with scaling that
Usually you can enable them though. You
no,
can enable them.
You used to be able to. They took that out in Windows 11.
Oh, so you can't enable it at all?
You can go to the registry and do it, but you cannot.
Yeah,
there's no
so.
setting that allow. There used to be a setting
that
easy. Allows you to do it. Yeah. The point
it's not easy. You have to enable it now. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. Now the question though is, for these new experiences, will it be the case that Windows will try to detect one of these new AMD chips and say, well, you don't have this, so you're not getting access to that. Right.
I will tell you, based on my experience with this right here, MSI Claw has a version of Windows, but it has tops in it as well. It does show that because it has tops, hardware tops available. There is an AI section inside Windows under settings that shows more information than on my even desktop, which does not have tops. Right. So to your point, when it detects it has features, it will recognize them, use them, and make mention of them. So that may be how they traverse that divide. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking this, because if I want to do my CEG setup, right, I hope it is not the case to where the Xbox app will get sort of the app aggregation features like Steam or whatever, but I don't get access to the full screen experience because Windows doesn't detect that I'm running a handheld.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That may be the short-term problems.
Yeah.
Yep. Short term, that may definitely be a thing. In the long term, I don't think that will be a thing, right? But we as the consumers may have to, like, it may be a conversation with Microsoft over time to get that thing changed, because they will expect us to move with it, and that's how they'll move, right? If a bunch of desktops now start like enabling it in the registry, they will enable that because they want people to use that. But if they don't see a bunch of people using it, they may just kind of leave it as is. I do understand what you're saying. The Great Pixel Big G, $10 super chat. He says, we spoke about the process overhead savings as a driver on PC in Discord. The old concept of Xbox died when the first 4 games went. Microsoft being an Xbox option in Windows is the future they want. I would ultimately say that's the future we all want. Ultimately, that's what the future you want, because then
that's the future.
That's right. You can get any hardware you want, presumably, as long as it meets a certain threshold, and now you got your Xbox, right? It needs to meet a minimum threshold, but when you get there, now you got an Xbox. It's great.
And if huge if, but if your library is not lost in the process, where is the downside?
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't say your entire library, like soup to nuts. I'd say 85%.
I mean, listen,
you disagree?
I'm not the person to talk to about libraries because
I know
I've already moved.
You just said F it. You're rebuying.
No, listen, because at the end of the day, and again, I'm not saying that this is a viable answer for people. I'm only telling you what I've experienced is that any game that was in my previous Xbox library that I've wanted that is not Play Anywhere is available for pennies on the dollar. Pennies. I'm talking about buying games for like $3.89 or whatever, right? I see you, BB. My point is, a lot of people are saying, well, it's dead. I'm walking away from the platform. But if you walk away from the platform, you don't have your library, do you?
Your library is also gone, which is ridiculous. Like, why would you do that? All the spent costs now is like out the window. Makes no sense,
right? So again, if for me, like, if they can give that to the people that need it, and me as somebody who's made that transition to the PC Warders of Lake Minnetonka, I've kind of already walked away from that library. So if they give it to me, it's a bonus. I'm more on the side of give me a user experience that will allow me to launch Xbox games right next to my Steam library and whatever else. That is the biggest benefit to, I think, all of us.
I don't disagree, sir. Briscoe _son with a $2 super chat. He says, what if the Series X/S gets the Windows update?
That is a super interesting question that no one has asked.
Is it possible? 100% it is, because that's an x86 device.
But will it be strong enough to do what it needs to do and run the other Windows stuff?
Yeah, we don't know. It does have some tops, not enough to really really mention, but it does have some of this technology. I wonder if they. Well, okay, so what I am presuming, and I don't have any kind of background information, but what I think will most likely happen will be the Xbox One will most likely get depreciated in favor of the Xbox Series being the floor. And moving on, they'll support the Series for a certain time and then cut that at some point, and then it's full bore into the future. I'm not sure if you get like this hybrid console OS on the Xbox Series in general. I know that the X can probably handle it, but I'm not sure the S can handle it.
Yeah, what I think we're gonna see, right, is going forward, Series compatibility will be basically considered back compat.
Yeah.
Right. So those will stay around. They'll do what they do, right? So effectively, like, I think going forward, there won't be, like, when we talk about what they're calling Gen 10, that's just going to be PC, like one thing. And if developers want to support the 30 or 40 by that time million Series people, they'll just have to make a back. It's like a developer now deciding to make a Switch 1 port, right? You're basically making a port for last gen, but your next gen thing is just going to be the PC.
So Christopher is seeing here that the Series S is too low memory for Windows 11. I disagree with that. You can get Windows 11 to run on anything. Like, you can really get it to, like, if you clean up Windows enough, I've run Tiny 11, you can get Windows to run on anything. But where I do agree with you, where I do agree that it won't be righteous for it, is even though it will run on Windows, and I think it will run on Windows, this, if we're talking hypervisor or anything that requires that hypervisor, which is how they are currently configuring, how they're currently running it, you need the guest to have this, like, enough resources while the host that's running it also has enough resources. And in that realm, guest to host ratio, you're right. There's not enough memory to divide the guest and the host, right? The host has to still run while the guest is still being an Xbox. And because the memory is low there, the guest will take too much memory, leaving it a little debilitated on the host side. So I think you're right there. But in general, I think Windows 11 can handle the amount of RAM that it was running, if it was running it natively. It's the whole guest to host ratio that kind of makes it upside down in my estimation. But anyway, the last super chat of the day with the Great Black Viking. And he says, in all caps, join the Discord and hit the like button. Signed, Mr. Thailand. For those who know. And with that, Mr. Everborn Saga, I think we might have round the bottom of the episode. Am I right? Anything else we've left to discuss? Any piece of the gaming puzzle this week that's been left unsaid that we may want to kind of double back on and talk about real quick? What do you think? His silence.
Let me get off of mute. There was one thing that I thought is an interesting port of call for discussion, which is AMD, right? If they are, like, how much of a differentiator is this for AMD versus NVIDIA in the discrete GPU space if these features are included? Like, if you're choosing between whatever the successor to the 9070 XT is and a 6000 series card, do you choose the one with the Xbox features or the one that has all the DLSS features?
I will tell you today, NVIDIA still wins today, because they are able to show you a lot of that whiz bang. Like, they're able to show you whiz bang that an AMD, even with their benefits, and no doubt there are benefits, kind of can't match, at least visibly, like something that you can show the consumer to make them want it. I think that at least in the short term, NVIDIA is still kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit there.
Even
but
with
future
FSR4?
looking, even with well, okay. I would say when it comes to FSR4 specifically, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see if FSR4 actually does matter like it should. But yeah, like if Xbox as a brand had a bit more in the tank as far as like people knowing and loving it, then I think this might be a bit more of a conversation. But let me show you what I mean by why I'm saying this, okay? And this, when you said that, right, this is the first thing that I thought about, okay? This is the first thing I thought about. This is the difference between path tracing and standard raster. Look at that. Right? And this is just Cyberpunk. Raster, path tracing. In a world where you have an NVIDIA card doing this versus all those other features, it's, look at that. It still does not compute. It's not. This one's not as much, but the second one, holy crap, look at that. That is the difference with NVIDIA cards versus AMD cards today. Well, not to say that they can't do path tracing. They can as well. But I guess my point I'm making is NVIDIA has backed their horse to all of these visibly shiny whiz-bang features. And in that world, it's like, even with the cool Xbox features, it makes it, you still want this versus that stuff, you know? That's what I'm saying.
I hear you, but AMD has been making strides, and
no doubt. They are making strides. They are making strides. I will not. This is not slander.
No, it was slander.
This is not slander. Look at the raster difference.
It was slander.
Oh, and AMD man is in the chat already. He said, "Watch him out." But all I'm asking is the normal consumer base. I won't even put this to a vote because I think this speaks for itself. The normal consumer base.
Yeah, but that's right not now, that. Okay.
This right here. This is just one example. One example. How is it not fair?
That's not fair because you're not comparing what an AMD card can do versus an NVIDIA card can do.
No.
Comparing
understand. You heard me. No. You heard me. You got to understand. You heard me say how they're standing. Obviously, there are NVIDIA cards, AMD cards that can do path tracing as well. I'm not saying they can't. What I'm saying is NVIDIA's message to the consumer has always been, look at all these amazing features we have, ray tracing, path tracing, all this. And they can show it like this, right? Even though AMD's cards can do it as well, they have never done this. They have never shown the consumer, look, we can do those whiz-bang features as well. They've always been on the, we have more VRAM than you, and our raster performance is better than you, which is true, right? They, in many respects, they can raster better than their competitor, and they tend to have more VRAM. I'm not talking about the truth. I'm talking about the perception in the market. When you, NVIDIA, are like going to market with these visuals, unless AMD also matches that visual energy, I don't think they will win with that, right? You asked the question, will they win against NVIDIA? I
didn't ask that.
When they show,
that was my question.
No. Yeah, you said will they
differentiator?
And what I'm trying to say to you is, because their direct competitor uses such whiz bang visually attractive messaging, unless AMD themselves also switches to such visual messaging, right? It may not work for them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the hardware can't do it. I'm not saying that it's impossible. All I'm saying is right now, one is all about, hey, we give you value for your dollar. We give you great raster performance, and we give you great VRAM. All great things. But the other one is like, look at the puddles, look at the path tracing, look at all of this. And that tends to be a more winning message to consumers. That's what I'm saying. Right. But we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out.
I think just as a different way of looking at this, I think it is fair to say that what NVIDIA does is more like console style marketing, which is bang.
NVIDIA is PlayStation.
Yes. And now AMD's working with a console maker. So maybe the marketing changes.
We shall see. I'm just talking about today. We shall see. You're right? We shall see. But from an actual factual perspective, yeah, those cards are very like for like. And I would even say in certain instances, AMD beats them. It's just the marketing is not on their side, so they usually don't win. You know, that's the point I'm making. The marketing is not on their side, And unless they change the way they market, they may still not win because the marketing is usually not on their side. Final super chat. JD Gamer, final super chat. He says, what if a major part of the new BC AI program is a set of major AI enhancements, visual performance enhancements going across all back compats? That is an interesting concept, sir. It's an interesting concept, but I think that will only really be beneficial in the world where you have AI as you have the TOPS, the neural processing engines, as a minimum requirement for all your hardware. When you have that, then you can use AutoSR or something to do that stuff. But if the hardware you're looking at doesn't all have the stuff across the board, the juice may not be worth the squeeze at that point, right? All the hardware has to have that minimum hardware acceleration. And right now they're not there yet. Go ahead.
I just think let's worry about them getting the backwards compat working first before we
before they move to boost.
Let's one thing at a time. I'm with you, but slow down.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's finish our poll. Now we had a poll up. The poll was next gen.
Sorry, go ahead.
Big poll
habit. We need
join the
Discord sound effects in this show.
We need that here. Yes, we do. We may investigate using Discord to do this. I don't know. See if we can get that
may get demonetized with some of those sound effects, but
yes, we do.
It might be.
Okay, join the Discord. Our poll. Yes, the poll said next gen. The Xbox is a PC with an Xbox full screen UI. As a console main that you are, would you buy one? Yes, we know that the pricing is dubious right now. We're not sure. We have no idea. Just in general, would you buy one? And by and large, this will probably speak to our audience and what people think. Our audience says by 64%, yes, they would buy one. And then 14% says nope. That's probably the Dorian Grays in the chat. Salute to Dorian, And then 23% of the audience says it depends on how it is executed. That's a good smattering, but by and large, I think our audience is all about this. Right, they're excited about it.
Let me throw some cold water.
Last super chat. Go ahead.
On this really quick. I do think they're getting a lot because I think people like myself see the potential. They're getting a lot of sort of benefit of the doubt, right? And because we see what it could be and what we want it to be.
Yep. They haven't shown us enough to make us excited yet. We need to see more.
Really need to slow down until they at least have some unedited demos of this stuff working, and they explain how back compat's gonna work. It sounds great, and I love that they're addressing these things, but we do need to slow down until we see what it actually is before we get.
Everborn Saga just said, temper your expectations, ladies and gentlemen, and I agree with him.
Well, hold on. Temper it until you see what they're going to do.
Until you see what they're doing. Absolutely.
Once you see it, you can get hype again, but just let's...
That's right. Although, there are many handheld gods in this space, and even they're excited, so...
Hey, listen, they're saying the right words. I will say
True. I want to see them put the right actions to those right words. I agree with that. And I will let JD have the last super chat of the day. $5 super chat. He says, AMD's new whiz-bang features is we have your Xbox catalog. And NVIDIA don't. We do what NVIDIA don't. And with Xbox, so much more. See, I agree with you, JD. The only thing, and this is what we were having that conversation, that back and forth, if they start using that talking point, it will be a bad day or a sad day when eventually that has to be bypassed because hypervisors don't care about NVIDIA versus AMD. So eventually that won't be true. Unless they have other reasons to make that true. But if you tie BC directly to this hardware, eventually you'll be a liar because there'll be different hardware that won't have this requirement that'll still just run it because of the brute forcing. Right? That's why I'm like, be careful how you train your consumer, because you're going to be basically creating the next noose that will be around your neck in 10 years or whatever, when people eventually discover that what you said was not necessarily 100%. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. But yes, I do agree that this has the potential to bring about some massive changes, both in console and in PC gaming, just by virtue that Microsoft is that big dog in the room and making crazy moves, right? So I think that's that. Everborn Saga, sir, I know you won't be here next week. Tell the people why.
That is because I will be at the Garden State Comics Fest in New Jersey. If you're in the tri-state area, please come and check us out. We will be there Saturday and Sunday next week. The full Everborn booth will be there. We'll be doing autographs. We have a lot of new merch that we're launching at that show. So it'll be a very exciting time, and maybe some announcements coming soon. So this is basically our this is when we go into tour season, right? So this month is Jersey, next month is Miami, August is Chicago, and Anime NYC. I don't know what's happening in September yet, but October is New York Comic Con. So we'll have a lot of stuff going on.
How about this? If you find yourself in a place where Everborn Saga is, and you happen to be wearing a Charge Them More shirt, I want you to reach out to Everborn and take a picture. If he doesn't give you a prize, I will. I need to see this. I need to see somebody meet Everborn Saga IRL. I need them, before you meet Everborn Saga IRL, I need you to have gone to the everbornsaga.com. I need you
to put a link to this shirt in the chat, because you can't get to this directly. That is because it's going to look mighty wild on the website saying Charge Them More. But
the link is in the chat right now. You get your 15% off by using the GCP code. If you meet, I don't care if he's in whichever event he's on, meet Everborn Saga, have this shirt on, take a photo. If I see that shirt with you in it, I will give you, pick a game. I will buy you that game. I will do that because I need to see people in IRL wearing this shirt, ladies and gentlemen. So here it is. This is my call to action. Use GCP on the everbornsaga.com. Get yourself this shirt, and there will be multiple chances to see Everborn and myself before the end of the year, actually. I think you're coming to Miami as well. You're coming to a lot of different places. Yes. So get yourself a shirt and come see us IRL. If you do, you will win yourself a prize. How about that? So there's that. Shout out to Everborn Saga. I hope it goes well. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on how all of that goes. In addition, shout out to the great Paris Lily who joined us as well. Paris, always a great member of our community. I don't care what you say. Whenever he wants to, he jumps on this show. And if you slander this man, he is empowered to put you into the shadow realm in our chat. So be nice. But shout out to Paris Lily. He's been great. He always is great, lending his time and his thoughts to our proceedings. I think that's it, though. One last call to action. Join the Discord. I don't think I even have to say that too much anymore. We are I think 100 people strong now.
You have to keep saying it. You always have to say it.
Well, we're always in there having great conversations on weekends, specifically Saturdays and Sundays. You may not see as many voice channels as you do during the week, but during the week there are voice channels, like lots of people in there having awesome conversations, gaming and otherwise. We have a great time in there. So if you have a chance to, the awesome Soil Tech is continuing to populate our chat right now with that link. Click that link, join our Discord, game giveaways. We have all these great conversations. It's just so much fun in there. So be a part of it. And that's how and why sometimes you don't see us or see me specifically on X.com, because I have found a new place to hang my hat that does not require dealing with the craziness of the timeline. So if you too feel like the timeline's a little
different
too crazy
level of
for
craziness from the Discord.
Yeah, it's crazy in our Discord, but it's not. It's a different kind of crazy, and it's gaming focused, and we love it. So we think you will as well. Join us on that Discord. But I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're done for the day. Everborn Saga, it's been awesome. I always appreciate you for joining us and continuing to make this show better. Shout out to the great Paris Lily once again. But with that, how about you show us the last pieces of Sonic before we get out of here?
This is where we are currently. It's coming together, people.
There you
go. I put a mark on it, trying to take it out of the printer. So I'm kind of upset with that. But we'll see if I can get that out. But just to give you like a size comparison of what it'll be like. For the people that weren't here in the beginning, This is what we
check that out, bro. That is awesome. That is awesome. So there you go. Mr. Everborn Saga is building, since no one wants to recognize Sonic's greatness, he's like, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself, damn it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Shadow next.
Oh,
but somebody in the chat said I need to do original Sonic. This is gonna be original chunky Sonic. I think you can start to see that now.
Yep. And you touch the stomach. It's a little bit scratched on his stomach, right? A little bit on the stomach.
So look, I use this knife thing to try to get it off of the print bed because I was like too anxious, because you're supposed to let it print and then leave it for like a half hour or whatever.
Let it dry,
so it cools down. If it's still warm inside the bed, the things will stick to the bed. But I was like, I want to print the next piece, so let me like force this off. Don't do that. Don't do what I did, people. But that's how this mark got there.
Yep. Keep an eye on Everborn Saga's Twitter page for the outcome. I'm sure he'll be posting some interesting shots. But besides that, I think we're good, man. Shout out to all the great folks on Blue Sky who also happen to catch. I've been keeping an eye on that. Shout out to the folks on Blue Sky, all the people, the one individual that watches us from our Twitch channel. We see you, we salute you. Shout out to the great community members. I see y'all in there: Slow-Mo, Backslap, Soil Tech, Stilo Facts, JD Gamer, Floodzilla. I see all y'all. Brap. Thank you so much for continuing to rock with us. But I think that's it, man. We done. See y'all next week. Peace.
Thanks for being on it.